what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love. I am sharper than a switchblade, first and last of what God made, and that's the truth. But man, keep on trying to hold me back while another chicken head come on to lose. Too strong, try to do me wrong, and the last one standing will order and command you to dance. Oh, dance. Well, tell your preacher and your teacher I'ma give you what you love. I got to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. Give you what you love. Give you some love. Yeah, baby. I said I take your time, take what you love, baby, just enough, but never too much, baby. Take your time, take what you love, and when that baby cry, you better look at that, baby. Take your time, take what you love, baby, just enough, but never too much, baby. Take your time, and when it give me some love, won't you give me what you love? Wanna give you some love, some love, some love, some love. Two guys walked in the building, tall like a ceiling, wearing fancy things, sharper than a knife, heavy like a spoon. When they walked in the room, we didn't know what to do. One looked at me, and I looked back. She said, "Can you tell me where the party's at?" She followed me back to the lobby. Yeah, she was looking at me.
Some undercover love. Where the party's at. Good afternoon, everyone. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my happy pre-election voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Listen, we are talking all things election today, and we're starting the show off with a bang because from 1:40 straight until 3:20, I am leaving it open for WURD listeners. Not 1:40, 2:40, because you all going to call in here and then tell Mobile you didn't get a chance to talk. So from 2:40 to 3:20, let me just double check. I can't get, it's one of those days, right, where all sorts of things are going on around here. Let me just double check, because I have Commissioner Sabir on. Yep, from 1:40 right until about 3:20, it'll be WURD listeners. I want you to call in and tell me everything that's going on with what you're seeing out on the streets. I have some things that I want to talk to you about that I have seen out on the streets coming in here and talking to people. I am getting phone calls of people who need election day coverage. I can't because I have to do media coverage, and so I'm going to help as much as I can, but there's just a lot happening. So let me tell you who is on first so I can get these folks in here and have a great conversation with them. Latasha Brown is an award-winning visionary thought leader, institution builder, cultural activist, and artist, and connector. She is a nationally recognized go-to expert in Black voting rights and voter suppression, Black women's empowerment, and philanthropy. Hello, Ms. Brown. How are you?
Well, we almost in the home stretch, sister. We are in the home stretch.
Woo! What a great way to start the show with you. You are perfect. So tell everybody that you're let me tell them. You're the co-founders of the Black Votes Matter, Black Votes Matter Fund, and the Black Votes Matter Capacity Building Institute. Tell everyone, what have you been up to? I'm very aware of Brittany Smalls and her work in the Philadelphia and Harrisburg area, but talk to us about what's happening, what you see going on out there, and what do you expect for Election Day tomorrow?
We have been working to build power in the Black community for our people, to spread love and build power. And so Pennsylvania is a key and a critical state for us. Yes, we are working. I'm so happy to be working with Brittany Smalls, who is our state coordinator, and our many partners. We're working with about 25 partners of nonprofit, grassroots groups and organizations throughout the state that are always on the front lines of doing this work. And so our work is actually to help build their capacity.
Right.
Our work actually to help put resources to actually be help coordinate a campaign to bring a message and lift up a message that we have power. We want Black voters to know that this isn't just about us participating in an election. This is about us using our power to be able to put people in office that align with our interests and to take some folk out.
Yes.
It's not been good to our communities as well. And in order to do that, we have to use our collective power, and voting is one tool for doing that.
Yeah. Miss Brown, tell me this. What are you seeing and hearing from Black voters? Are the numbers encouraging to you?
You know, we have been, for the last 37 days, we have been traveling through 15 states all over this country. We have been going into communities and rural communities in Georgia and Mississippi, in the Delta region. We've been in Texas, down to Galveston, all the way up to Dallas and Houston, and we've been up to Michigan and Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Consistently. When we've been talking to our people on the ground, they know what time it is.
Yes, they do.
You know, when I'm hearing a message from us, we know what time it is. We know what it means when you've got somebody in position that actually aligns themselves with white supremacists. We know what that means. We know when we're hearing folks do these dog whistles of racism and attacks on our community, we know what that means as well. And we know what we have been experiencing in COVID.
Yes.
Our community has been devastated by COVID-19. And not just in the physical way, while we've lost many, and I send out love and prayers to those who have lost someone close to them for COVID-19, because it didn't have to be so if we had leadership in this country. But we've also taken a major financial hit.
Yes.
I'd like to remind people that Trump, during his administration, 80% of Black businesses did not receive a dime of the trillions of dollars that have been distributed out there with the stimulus package. When we're looking at disproportionately, our communities are taking the brunt of COVID-19, yet we've got folks in office that don't want us to expand Medicaid. What is so wrong with folks having health care insurance that have worked in this country and made this country be what it is? And so I think when we've been talking to folks, I can tell you, everywhere we've gone, we've been received well. Yeah. We have had Black communities, but that's because we go around our people. We're in our communities, often in areas that have been overlooked or forgotten or underinvested. And that's where the real power is. So when we meet folks on the streets and they say, you know, I don't want to vote or I don't believe in this process, we don't walk away. We don't dismiss them.
Right.
We think what they have to say is just as important and powerful as what any of us have to say. And so we take the time to engage in a conversation with them to really find out what it is that they care about. And oftentimes we're able to make that connection of why voting could be one key. But we're also honest with them that voting ain't going to solve all of our problems.
Yes.
Voting is not going to be the panacea, but voting is absolutely a tool to help us get power. And when our communities are in the circumstances that they're in, where we're looking at heightened police violence, where we're looking at the inequities of pay, when we're looking at housing shortages, we cannot afford to leave any power on the table. So our folks have to organize and use all of our collective power, whether that's protesting in the streets, whether that's creating economic solutions, and if that means that we have to come out and vote in record numbers, then we've got to do what it's going to take to move our communities forward.
I am thoroughly enjoying interviewing you. You are fired up. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So listen, we're here in Philadelphia, WURD radio station, and we have been seeing signs of voter suppression. We have seen white nationalist groups growing through our neighborhoods. We have been told that they showed up when people were registering to vote. And so we are really on heightened alert here in Philadelphia. What are you saying to people who are worried that they may face voter suppression? The other thing that I saw this morning was a report on MSNBC that says in Philadelphia, only 34% of the people have already voted. What that translated to for them, and especially for me, was that lots of us did not trust having our mail-in ballots discarded, right? So many of us are going to show up for the polls tomorrow. What advice do you have for folks who are going geared up to sit and wait for hours if need be at the polls tomorrow morning?
Thank you for asking that question. What I want to do is I want to say a shout out to our people, because I think part of a lot of the narratives we hear are to discourage us.
Yes.
Right? At the end of the day, racism ain't new for us. Right? At the end of the day, what we have seen is this kind of political trauma. Part of voter suppression is to create a culture of fear and intimidation. And what I do know is when we stand together, what I do know is that when we look over each other, when we watch together, when we are collectively together, we don't see too many of them folks come around, right? Because they know what time it is. My point is, I think it's really important that we stay focused this election cycle.
All right,
we cannot get caught up in those that seek to create fear and intimidation, that there will be organizations just like mine and others that will be at the voting rights, will be at the polling site, that will be able to assist folks, that if folks in any circumstance feel any sense of intimidation, they should immediately go to the election official at that site and let them know, because that is a federal crime. That is illegal. Secondly, we ask them to call the number 1-866-OUR-VOTE. If they have any problems at the polling site, they should make sure that they call that number, and there will be advocates. You will see Black Voters Matter folks. You'll probably see members from the NAACP and other organizations that we can trust, that we know in our communities. But I can tell you, the best thing that I've seen to combat that is when you live in communities that we've got to show up at the polls as poll watchers and protectors in our communities. So if we're going to the polls, right, if we're staying in those communities, people know who live in those communities and who don't. Right? And it does make a difference. And so what I do believe is that our presence holds power. Not just in our vote, our presence has power. And so if collectively we are at the polls bringing joy, whether that's singing, whether that's dancing, whether that's encouraging each other, whether that's praying, whether that's inspiring, whether that's stepping, all of those things add to the energy around Black people standing in our power. And no, we will not be intimidated. And no, we will not cower to the culture of fear. Matter of fact, that is the moment that we will shine our light. And so what I am seeing even the voter suppression I've seen all around this country. What is so remarkable to me, particularly I got to do a shout out to Black women, is how Black women have been responding. You know, that on one hand, yes, voter suppression has been intensified. We're seeing 100,000 votes that Republicans are trying to throw out in Texas. We saw the efforts in your state in Pennsylvania where they didn't want the election to be able to count the votes except the ones that were received on election day. We're seeing all kind of tricks of the trade. The way that we can combat that is we have to show up in force. We have to show up. We have to vote. We have to literally be there, have our presence, really being able to focus on love and joy and the power of that and shining our light. I do think that will make a difference.
Man, you know, every once in a while I get someone that I interview that is just a lightning rod. You are that for me. What a great way to start this show. I know you don't have much time, but I want to thank you so much for calling in and being my first guest today and getting people ready to vote. I'm telling them to take their chairs and carry their sandwiches, and, you know, we'll figure it out in terms of what they got to do to use the bathroom, because we fully expect to see quite a few people out at the polls tomorrow. I want want to thank you for being co-founder of our Black Votes Matter. I have some of the paraphernalia. I wear the T-shirt, I wear the hoodie, and our votes, we count, right? And so I take such great pride. Yes, we matter. And so I take such great pride in wearing that stuff. And I want to thank you for being part of the carriage of justice that has encouraged and motivated people like me who have been on the air since June saying, listen, don't wait until November. Here are the ballot questions. Do this, do that, And so right now we have a 90% of the people who are eligible to vote in this city are registered. So I'm extremely excited that we've gotten some great results.
Power.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is a power. Let me say this to you. Black radio matters too.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
fact that there is a Black-owned radio station in that state that creates this platform for us to be able to share, that is a tremendous value for our community.
I agree.
And so thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you all for the platform that you provide for us. And we're so happy that you are there. Because you are there, we're here.
Yes, ma'am. I wish you everything good, all the light and love you could possibly have with leading right into the election and the days afterwards, because we know as Black people, the fight isn't always short, right? We have long-term effects coming. So let's just get ourselves together. And I want to thank you so much for calling in today. We fully appreciate you, okay?
Thank you. God bless. When we work together, we win.
Yes, ma'am. When we work together, we win. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. That was Latasha Brown, who is, wow, what a great way to start the show. She's the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, Black Voters Matter Fund, and the Black Voters Matter Capacity Building Institute. She has worked in 23 different countries, including Kenya, Guyana, and Brazil. And her next mission involves resourcing and empowering women across the diaspora, somebody I must get to know. I don't want women to be seen as victims. They are the problem solvers of the world. I am convinced that Black women are going to liberate the world. This is so good. She has also received numerous awards and accolades for her work. She has been featured on ABC, CBS, CNN, Democracy Now!, and PBS. Her op-eds have been showcased in the New York Times, Politico, and Essence. Makes sense. Talking to her, you can tell she's someone who is about her business. Her work has also been highlighted in several docuseries, What's Eating America, American Swamp, and Finding Justice. To learn more about her, please visit ms.latashabrown.com. That's LATOSHABROW Brown.com. I would like to interview her again. She was absolutely wonderful. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
This year has been unprecedented. From the COVID pandemic to nationwide protests addressing systemic racism and calling for criminal justice reform. For weeks, we've been reminding you to make your voice heard in this election, and now is the time to act. Voting is how we empower our communities, and this election day, we can make things happen for us instead of letting things happen to us. So use your power and make your plan to vote today. If you signed up to vote by mail, don't wait. Complete your ballot, put it in the small envelope and seal it. Then put it in a larger envelope and seal that too. Sign and date it. Then drop off your ballot at your county election office today. If you have not signed up to vote by mail, go to the polls on Tuesday, November 3rd. Make sure to confirm your polling location and don't forget to wear a mask. Polling places are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. To find your county election office or polling location, visit votespa.com. Take your power to the polls and vote. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice, $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check on WURD. Are you a Philly area voter who received your mail-in ballot but suddenly decided you want to vote in person? If you return your complete ballot to the county election office by October 27th, you may not vote in person on election day. However, if you don't return your complete mail-in ballot to your county before October 27th, you can go to a polling place, surrender your unvoted ballot and voter's declaration envelope, sign a statement, and vote on the machines. Keep following us at onWURD on Twitter, Facebook.com/4WURD, and #WordOnPolitics for constant updates on election 2020. And remember, vote early.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com.
Hey, Mama, you calling me for a change? You and Daddy all right?
We're fine. Can't your mama call and check on her babies and get a little advice?
You know you can. What do you need help with?
Well, despite COVID-19, you know I'm not letting anything stop your father and I from voting this year. But we're here in Pennsylvania. Should we go to our precinct as usual? What's the best way?
You mean I get to be Mama for a minute? All you have to do is go to aarp.org/election 2020.
That's my favorite site, and they have a lot of information about the pandemic.
You only text me the website 3 times, but they have all the reliable, up-to-date voting information for voters 50 plus in every state. Want me to text it to you?
Girl, I know. It's aarp.org/election 2020.
Well, me being your mama didn't last long.
That's 'cause I'll always be your mama.
Yes, ma'am.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Reverend Joe, I love it that you're always my first guest. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine.
First of all, how was your birthday? How was your birthday?
Oh, you found out about it. Yes, it's excellent. 82 on Saturday, but I thank God for it. But this sort of came across my mind. Insanity. My mother's from South Carolina. She said, in South Carolina years ago, the white man could come to your house, make the black man sit on the steps, and go upstairs with the man's wife and come down. You couldn't say nothing. So anybody that will vote for Trump and think about this is over with, they're certified crazy.
Yeah.
That same spirit is still here. Those folks hate us. They were stopping buses. I got you heard about the...
I did, in Texas, yes, and that the Federal Bureau of Investigations is now following up on that.
Yeah, so the spirit is... What is wrong with us to see that our forefathers, our mothers and grandmothers suffered just to get us this far, and they're still messing with us and come and vote somebody you don't decide. You got to be certified crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to say.
Well, you know, Reverend Joe, it's not been, folks have been so caught up between the virus. You heard Miss Latasha said 80% of black businesses did not get a dime from this election, from the stimulus package. In fact, we've had several discussions about it. But what do you think about the elections coming up tomorrow? How are you feeling about it?
That's why I told you that little story. You've got to get out and try to get these people out of the White House and everything else. This spirit is so deep. We don't realize how deep the hate is for black folks. We don't understand that.
Yeah.
It's a Stockholm syndrome. When you hear anybody black talking about they want to be a Republican, one man called up the other week saying Trump is one of us. One of us? And you ain't got nothing. You live in the project. Here the guy's a billionaire. You talking one of us. We're certified crazy. I'm telling you, it's a sickness. We have to understand how deep this hate is, and we got to change the whole thing. Especially with our young folks. We got the rappers. Look at a couple of these rappers just came out for them. They don't know their history. They don't know what we've been through with.
Yeah. Well, one of them rescinded after his white girlfriend checked him and said, "Really? Is that what we're doing today?"
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
Well, you keep doing what you're doing, but I had to say that maybe that would make somebody start thinking how far we've come and what we've suffered to get to this point. The turnaround that's crazy now. We've certified crazy. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Miss Mary.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you ready for tomorrow?
Oh, I voted a couple of months ago. You know, mine's with the mail-in ballot. And since I'm aware of the system, you know, they scan the information into the system, so it's no fraud. You know, I've been an investigator for 45 years with the state, so I know everything about.
Oh, Miss Mary, that's why you're so knowledgeable. Why does no one not listen to you? Because I listen to you. I'm like, this woman knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, because I know the ins and outs of the corrupt system throughout the country, not just the state of Pennsylvania, the city of Philadelphia, and throughout the country.
That's why folks are trying to silence you, Miss Mary. You call and talk to Mother anytime, okay?
Right, but I'm calling about what's on the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer.
What is on the front page? I'm about to go look now. What's on the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer?
Renewed calls to defund police. You know, not only am I calling that the police need to be defunded, but also city council. And I've been calling for this for quite some time, based on this city being the poorest large city in the country. You know, it's no way in the world that we should be continuing to pay city council a six-figure salary, you know, and we just renewed the contract for the police department. You know, and to hear ever since this new police commissioner, Outlaw, has been in place, no policy regarding crime, and also we're out so far $500 million that taxpayers are going to have to pay based on the lawsuits that have been filed against the city of Philadelphia. This is, I have never seen this before. We call in a police commissioner for change, and so far she's been in place, and we're out of $500 million. You know, I would have lost my job if I had engaged in such incompetency. And based on city council, it's no excuse for this. So since they're calling for the police to be defunded, I'm calling for city council to be defunded. And also the police department that's committing these crimes, because they're out of control now. I'm hearing about they snatching a woman out of her car.
And a baby.
Pulling a baby. You know, this is uncalled for. And to have a woman police commissioner in charge and nothing is being done, the pensions of these police officers also need to be defunded. They're living in other cities and states, and we are supposed to be held accountable for their actions. What punishment are they getting? You know, we need to stop this. They're going to Philadelphia basically to take advantage of not only the citizens but the taxpayers. This has to stop, and these lawyers that's filing these cases, they need to start filing in behalf of the citizens in Philadelphia. The ACLU, no, they sit back and allow this to go on, and we're basically, this is pending. This $500 million, no, they're going to have to start taking it out of their paycheck, their pensions. It's no way in the world. Abernathy should have resigned, and he's going home with a multi-million-dollar pension that we're going to have to pay for. It has to stop. Thank you, and you have a good day.
You too, Miss Mary. Wow, Miss Mary gave us an earful today. And I have to tell you, I can't say that I disagree with her on any point fully, because I am still flummoxed. I saw an article people were posting on social media, and I am grateful for the leadership that, you know, people are acknowledging the leadership here. But then Ryan Boyer put on the State Rep Joanna McClinton's thing. She got one of the things, you know, as one of the top leaders in the city of Philadelphia. And while I happen to think that she's doing amazing work, because I've had several conversations with her, I've been watching her closely as she continues to work and hard on behalf of her constituents. Ryan Boyer made a statement. He said, now what are we going to do with all this power collectively to make sure that the citizens of this city get where they need to? And all I could write in response to what he said was, thank you. I go to sleep every night and I see the despair on the faces of the Philadelphians. I see the people who have lost their businesses. I see the people who are continuing to wonder how they're going to eat. I am having conversations with folks who are just bereft, right? And despite all of that, when we try to have conversation and say, listen, what are we doing collectively? It feels to me that things are shifting, like everybody's a shapeshifter, right? No one's, when you look at them, they turn, the shape changes and go look over there at such and such, and we're pointing fingers, and nobody's really accepting and taking responsibility. But listen, here's the deal, and let me just tell you this, as leaders, collectively, it looks bad on everybody that this city is the largest poor city in the country. It looks bad on everybody that we're sitting here just kind of, you know, shrugging our shoulders, or, you know, I try to watch city council and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's just so much happening, and you're trying to figure it out. And when we say work with us, let's figure out a way to work together, there's this stiff-necked attitude, which is why I'm telling you the young people are coming. City council is already starting to turn over. You see Kendra Brooks and Jamie Gaudier and Isaiah Thomas, you know. New blood is starting to come in. People, and they're not the only ones. You just hold on. Watch and see what's coming. Don't have to believe me, right? I'm just telling you what I hear in these streets, as I like to say, in these Wakandan streets. And because my ear has been politically to the ground for almost 30 years, nobody knew until I started working at this radio station exactly what I did for a living. Isn't that crazy? People kept asking, I would not say. And some of the stuff you still don't know, right? Because we always say, never let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. And since we are here to do work, and we're not here to have our names put in lights, then we have to continue to do what we need to do quietly sometimes on behalf of our citizenry. But I don't see anything right now beyond certain individuals doing a little bit here and a little bit there on behalf of the people that they're serving. But collectively, what are we doing in this city? And when I ask this question, it's not for you to look at your radio or watch me on Facebook and say, what is she talking about? You know what I'm talking about. And so when do you start to stand up and say, all right, y'all, the people are sick and tired of this. Let's get better. You asked for our votes. 90% of us got out and registered and made sure we were ready to vote. So there's going to be a large turnout in this city tomorrow. What are we getting for our votes beyond giving you a vote? Those days are over. Jacob, where are you, sir?
All right. How you doing,
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm stressed, but I'm over blessed. So the stress I put in its place.
Okay.
But you know, I just heard you. You just made a statement that we Philadelphians are we the poorest. No, we're not. It's just if you're brown skinned.
Oh, the brown people, huh?
You black or brown or poor white, because they don't care nothing about poor white either.
Yep.
But right there where Philly International Records used to be, 309 South Broad Street, they putting a building up there that I think the bathroom is going to cost $1 million to get in there. So, we got people with money here in Philadelphia, but they just don't give a heck about the poor, right? And that's what we have to change. And now we into it now. What we got tomorrow is the day, the heavyweight fight start tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm saying this here. We ain't got nothing to fear but fear itself. You know, they heard that they had a meeting, right? And Trump said he's going to come out early and declare himself the winner. When have you ever in your life saw the winning declaration of the American president be put out by the president himself? You ever seen that?
No, sir. But then we haven't seen a lot of what we've been witnessing lately, though, right?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that, would you believe it? You already know the man that's saying it they have recorded thousands of lies, right? That's recorded, right? So anybody the only people that's going to believe what this man says are the basket of deplorables that Hillary Clinton told us about, and she apologized. She shouldn't apologize. They are, you know, I talked to a man that was as dark as Clarence Thomas today where I work, and he said he voted for Trump, but he did it out of ignorance. And at this point, it's nothing I could tell him, but I told him, I said, brother, I respect the fact that you made your decision, and I'm glad you voted because you showed, you did give a voice. But for me to go in to try to bring you up to par about this man, if you've already done that, I respect your right to do it. But I put it like this, and then I said, I ain't going to say nothing else to you, brother. I'm going to drop the mic. Your voting for Donald Trump, to me, is equivalent to a Jewish person who would vote for Adolf Hitler. And I got nothing else to say after that. We can go in peace. Matter of fact, I shared something I had with him. I love you, brother. But we got to keep the love, see? And that's where we get off. We stop loving one another because we don't all agree on the same thing. We can still love one another and help one another without that. But I'm telling you, I believe, I got a feeling that this is going to be one of the greatest upsets in the history of presidential politics in America. And that he planned, and in my book, the Holy Quran, God tells us there that the wicked plan, and he plans, and he says, I'm the best of planners. So I ain't got no problem with these wicked planning people. Whatever they plan ain't going to work today. I believe that the majority of American people see who he is, and they want to cleanse the way. And when they get him out of there, I think nobody should go in there within about a month until they exterminate, cleanse, and everything else you got to do. Okay? That's how filthy I think he is. I would send in a bunch of, I'm Muslim, but I would send in voodoo priests and everything. Bake some bread, burn some incense, and get them evil, wicked, demon spirits out of that place.
So let me ask you this question, Jacob. Are you planning to be a poll watcher tomorrow, or at least around your neighborhood, make sure that people are safe where you are?
Oh, yes. Look, I don't have to work tomorrow. I've already voted weeks ago. So I intend to do whatever I got to do. And let me hear about some boogaloo boys or some proud boys in my hood.
Yeah.
I'm going to go tell them how proud they are.
Yeah,
and nobody fit. They think they scaring us. My ancestors gave cattle right here in Philadelphia. He didn't care nothing about that fear in you. You think because you got a gun, you better go ahead on about your business and go home to your families while you can, because we won the Civil War, okay? The North won. Y'all didn't get the memo yet. But we're going to work with your ignorant butts, too, because this is America. If you want to be that way, long as you ain't hurting nobody, go to your little places that you already got anyway, Granville, and live a good life and leave the rest of us alone. You're going to be all right.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, Jacob. I love the WURD listeners. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Oh, yes, and I have to do this. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Nick Talaferro is back with a new show, Evening Words, and I think he brought a chill back with him. So he's giving you a free hoodie when you become a WURD member and use the code Welcome Back at checkout. There you go, the lady that asked on Facebook just now. That's right. Become a member today, and you'll receive a free WURD hoodie valued at $40. Don't wait. The deal goes away today, November 2nd. Go to WURDradio.com/join now or to join or renew today. So to the lady, Roslyn, that asked me on Facebook Live, you can get renew your membership and use the code Welcome Back at checkout, and you'll get the hoodie. All right? You'll receive a free word hoodie. And listen, I saw the hoodie last week. It's delicious. All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
As our nation battles a pandemic and economic downturn, The health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on issues that matter to you, and AARP Pennsylvania is here to help. We want to make sure that you know all of your voting options and that all Americans, from working parents to family caregivers to seniors in nursing homes, can vote safely whether they choose to vote from home or in person. To learn more about how AARP Pennsylvania is fighting to protect voters 50 plus and how to make your voice heard this November, visit aarp.org/PA votes. Paid for by AARP.
We've all heard it, that friend or relative who doesn't vote because they say the system is fixed or that it doesn't matter. They don't care that people have died to secure the right to vote. They don't care that the politicians we elect through voting determine everything from how much money your kid's school will get to how much you pay in taxes, from how clean the air you breathe and the water you drink are, to the policies that govern the police that are supposed to protect you, whether working class families can pay their bills, whether you'll have access to funding to build a business, and how labor unions can protect the rights of their members. If these aren't enough reasons to get out and vote, then think about this. If your vote is so meaningless, why are there people out there trying to keep you from casting it? But seriously, if the past 3.5 years haven't convinced you how important it is to vote, then nothing I say, nothing you hear will convince you. So just vote. You can do it through early or mail-in ballots, or you can do it on November the 3rd. But just do it. This message is brought to you by the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, Philadelphia Chapter.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
As a business owner, hiring and developing people from the community that your company serves is one of the best ways to show commitment to that community. Let WURD Radio help with Livelihood, our new initiative that connects Philadelphians with companies like yours. We'll feature your business, open employment opportunities, and resources to connect your company with talent and ensure that you reach your target demographic. To learn more about how Livelihood can help you build your team, visit wordworks.com. That's WURD Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I want to send a special shout out to my husband. Yep, somebody actually married Mother, who made me a nice cup of tea, a flask of tea to take in, because I was doing 5 hours of constant talking on Saturday, tried to rest my voice on Sunday, and I'm still like trying to get it together here. But I can't take for granted that he's always in my corner. So listen, the District Attorney's Office is having an upcoming virtual one-stop and job resource hub that it hosts monthly, coming up this Thursday, November 5th from 3 to 5 p.m. Anyone can join the District Attorney's one-stop webinar by clicking on the following Zoom link. So listen, Makita, I'm going to need you to go into the Facebook page, the WURD Facebook page, and put the Zoom link there, please, because I can't give them this over the air. But for those of you who do not have a computer and like to participate, by calling the following toll-free number, 301-715-8592. All of this needs to go into the WURD page so that folks can listen to it. Again, the District Attorney's Office is having a one-stop stop. You know what? This is why I don't like doing things via text message. They're having a virtual one-stop and job resource hub that on Thursday, November 5th from 3 to 5 p.m. It's usually hosted by G. Lamar Stewart, Chief of the Community Engagement. So if you're looking for a job, please go. And they have more than just jobs. They have all sorts of resources that are available for you. All right, moving right along. Lord, my voice. For the, where am I? New York Times, my favoritist place. And I know favoritist is not a word, but it's my favorite place to go and get news highlights to give to you. David Leonhardt, he said, good morning. One day before the election, we ranked the 12 big outcomes to look for. So, the election guide. With only one day before Election Day, we are using today's newsletter to offer our ranking of this year's 12 most important outcomes. Number 1 is the presidency. This one is obvious. The United States will be a very different country under a second Trump term as opposed to a Joe Biden presidency. The first things to watch for tomorrow night will be whether Biden wins Florida, Georgia, or North Carolina. Any of these will probably give him the presidency. If he seems to be losing all of them, the country may be looking at a long night or a long week of vote counting, with the outcome coming down to some combination of Arizona and Pennsylvania. Number 2, Senate control. Even if Biden wins, he may struggle to pass major legislation unless Democrats also control the Senate. So you're not just voting for the presidency, and you all heard me say 1 week ago today that the Electoral College is who votes for the President of the United States. Your popular vote might matter in some places, in some states, but the electors are not bound by what the popular vote is in their states, which is why we got to be careful, right? The electors are chosen in some instances by the political parties themselves, Democrat or Republican, and that several of the seats are chosen by Congress people, some are chosen by the Senate folks, and the District of Columbia gets 3 electoral college votes. Ask me how I know all of this off the top of my head. I did so much research 2 weekends ago about this, and so now I have a very clear idea of why popular votes do not win presidencies. You want to look in your state, your home state, to see if they follow the popular vote lineage, or if your state has had an issue with the popular vote going for a certain candidate and the electors choose someone else. This is how Hillary Clinton lost the election. She won the popular vote by 3 million votes and still lost the election because the Electoral College voted for President Donald Trump. And that's why when you hear people saying over and again, you've got to vote, the numbers have to be huge. There can be no margin for error. There can't be, well, maybe it could have. This is why there's been so much voter push for voter turnout for all of you, right? I went to the market this morning and saw poll workers there asking people if they're registered to vote. I saw one man holding up a sign near Einstein Hospital, and I'll read the sign to you in a little bit because I took a picture of it while I was sitting at the stoplight. I've seen all sorts of things happening out here, and folks are, there's an excitement in the air and a little bit of nervousness, and so people are also, stocking up on food and getting themselves together. In Philly, it looks like we're expecting snow in the supermarkets. You know we do when they say snow coming in Philadelphia. Everybody gets this stuff together, and so people are stocking up and getting themselves together because we don't know what's going to happen. We have seen with this presidency that anything is possible, and we just don't know what to think and believe anymore. It's so interesting because as news media people, we're supposed to be nonpartisan and we work really hard at it, but sometimes we're just so incredulous by what this man has done in the White House. We have to, even the Washington Post, the New York Times, I watch Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid and all the others, and they're all like, this is insane. We have never seen anything like this. And so, the fact-checking alone keeps them all on their toes because it's just a lot of it is not factual, the things that are coming out of his mouth. So the Senate is we have to win the Senate, right? And if President Trump wins, the Senate will determine how many judges he can appoint in a second term. He's already appointed well over 100, so let's see what is it that you want to have done. The Democrats are likely to lose the Senate seat they now hold in Alabama, meaning they would need to flip 4 Republican-held seats to retake control if Vice President Kamala Harris is breaking Senate ties, and 5 if Vice President Mike Pence still is. Lord. So we need to flip 4 Republican-held seats to retake control, and 5 if Vice President Mike Pence still is. Democrats have held consistent, if small, leads over 4 Republican incumbents in Arizona, Colorado, Maine, and North Carolina. The races for 5 other Republican-held seats are tight: Iowa, Montana, South Carolina, and 2 in Georgia. And in fact, the senators that are up for election, the Republican senators that are up for re-election, have been heard saying that they know some of them are not going to be re-elected because of what's going on. The third thing you need to look out for is the state legislatures. Control of state legislatures is especially important in a census year like 2020 because they draw congressional districts in many states. Overall, Democrats control 19 legislatures and Republicans control 29, with Minnesota split and Nebraska nonpartisan. Tomorrow, Democrats hope to take full control in Arizona, Minnesota, and North Carolina, and to win partial control in Iowa, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Texas. The House. This would be higher on the list, but the results seem clear. Democrats are heavy favorites to retain control of the House and maybe expand their 35-seat margin. A few races to watch. The Republicans are in danger of losing seats in New York, New Jersey, and Ohio. Democratic incumbents are at risk for losing in southern New Mexico, Staten Island, and Minnesota. Lord. Number 5, prosecutors and courts. I'm trying to tell you. Some large cities and counties, including Los Angeles, Orlando, and Arizona's Maricopa County, could elect prosecutors who have argued against mass incarceration. These candidates typically oppose the death penalty and the prosecution of simple drug possession cases. And so you have to pay attention. Know who the people who are running for prosecutorial office, who is going to be your attorney general. When you go into the polling booths tomorrow, since it seems a ton of you are waiting for election day to vote, make sure you're not just voting for president and vice president. Look to see who's running for Senate. Look to see if any judges are up for retention or are running for office. Look to see who's running for district attorney. The attorney general in New York City, Letitia James, is tearing the sucker off of the president's rooftop. I'm telling you, she's like, we're not playing these games, and I'm not bound by federal laws. And so there's certain things you can do. Look to see who's in your state legislature and running for office, right? Answer those 4 ballot questions. I've read them so much I can answer them. I can tell you them rotely now. It's crazy. Office for a victim advocate. If you'd like to have that, you vote yes or no for that. We want to remove stop and frisk. If you agree with that, you vote yes or no for that. We want to have a police oversight commission, one that has teeth. There's an advisory commission right now, and the guy that was a part of it, I believe, resigned. And they've been fighting for years to get one with more teeth in it. And the city wants to borrow $134 million. Now, listen, I done read these questions so many times that I can actually say it from rote memory. So you want to look for those 4 ballot questions and don't let them fall by the wayside, okay? So, all right, prosecutors and courts. In Michigan and Ohio, Democrats hope to gain control of the state Supreme Courts, which could reduce gerrymandering, protect labor and voting rights, and uphold governors' pandemic policies. Again, we look for the courts, not just your local courts in your cities, but look at the state courts, anyone who's running, and make sure you vote accordingly. Number 6, populist economics. Several states will consider ballot initiatives intended to reduce economic inequality, including a measure to establish a $15 minimum wage in Florida, a step toward a more progressive income tax in Illinois, higher taxes on the affluent in Arizona, and an increase in property taxes on businesses in California. You are listening to The Source. When I come back, I will read the others. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I'm still waiting for Commissioner Sabir to call in here. He was supposed to call at 1:21. Have not heard from him yet. So if anyone from the Commissioner's office would like to call in, please let me know, because this is the day before Election Day. And so I really want to make sure that we get the what needs to happen for people to hear leading up to election. It is now almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And so elections will be on way less than 24 hours from now. All right? And so, all right, waiting for that. We will be right back after these messages.
We've all heard people say this election is the most important of our lifetime. Let's remember why that's true. Under the Trump presidency, racism has found a tragic new normal, emboldened by a president who has demonstrated disrespect and disregard for our communities while embracing and protecting white supremacists. While the coronavirus was taking our family members from us, Donald Trump deceived the nation by withholding information that could have saved lives. He protected himself instead of protecting us. Our economy is in shambles, our children's education jeopardized, and the Trump administration is in court right now trying to take away our health care. This has to end. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the leaders we need to chart a path toward opportunity, justice, and healing. From affordable health care to quality education and jobs, there's only one choice to move us forward. Vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Paid for by Black PAC and Priorities USA Action, blackpac.com and prioritiesUSAAction.org, which are responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
New Voices for Reproductive Justice is registering Black women and their families in Philly to vote. The general election is on November 3rd. You can register to vote online at rock.vote/New Voices. That's rock.vote/New Voices. The deadline to register is October 19th. If you need assistance registering to vote, visit newvoicesrj.org.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time, Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight. This program is pre-recorded. No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURDradio.com.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Helana, your resident health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Many of us have heard this term before, but may not know what it really means. Compassionate living brings mindfulness and peace to the center of your daily life. Compassionate living can look like this. Number 1, be gentle with yourself and those around you. Number 2, choose to speak kindly to others, even when you're upset. Number 3, become a good listener and practice empathy at home and at work. We sometimes think in order to live with compassion, we have to become someone else. Not so. In fact, allowing peacefulness to be at the center of our daily interactions is something we can practice every day. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at WURDradio.com.
Voters, it's time to know your rights. Know that history is on your side. History has given you the right to vote. See yourself during the most important election of our time. See yourself casting your ballot and not letting anyone or anything stand in your way. See yourself as the voter with the most powerful voice. The voice of the young first-time voter. The voice of the disabled voter. The voice of the experienced senior citizen. The voice that is Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American. The voter that is straight, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, non-binary. You are the American voter who cannot be suppressed. It's time that you know that casting your ballot isn't difficult at all. You just have to know your rights. Voters, you have the right to a free and fair election. That's why your voice will not be suppressed. Your vote is your voice. Call or text 866-OUR-VOTE for more information on your voting rights.
Keeping you informed about Tuesday's election. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, and watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio, independent Black media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. The Source Education Hour is brought to you by Internet Essentials from Comcast. High-speed home internet for low-income families for just $9.95 per month. Visit internetessentials.com to learn more. I'm going to read that again. Both of you go away. I can see your faces. The Source Education Hour is brought to you by Internet Essentials from Comcast. High-speed home internet for low-income families for just $9.95 per month. Visit internetessentials.com to learn more. Wonderful. So here we go. I am looking at something that Mary Briggs wrote in the Facebook. She says, there are poor blacks that need to change their spending habits in our communities. $400 a month, hair and nails a month replaced with business license. The same goes for those sneakers and clothing. Become a seller. Miss Briggs, I used to have that conversation with my friends about it, and folks that I didn't understand, because when you're poor, if you just have a little bit of money, you want to take it to look good. And so while I am not knocking folks, one of the things I say to people all the time, you know, in order for me to do what I needed to do to run and operate my own business for 20-something years, I had to get a business license. I had to trademark the logos that I had. I had to, you know, all of those things cost money. So for me, you know, and I try to use myself as an example because I understand, you know, if you don't have business insurance, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. So business insurance is essential and very important in this movement, right? And so for black folks, we've always just kind of throw up a shingle because we're very creative as a people, and we create something, we make a butter or we make a thing and we start moving, and there are people with the money that says, oh, their product is selling, let me look and see if their stuff is trademarked, and they will take your name, and then you have to start all over from scratch again. So here's what I'm going to suggest to you. As you start making your products and doing what you're doing, start saving a good amount of what you do, or what you're making, right? So you got to use some of it to eat and to live, but if you start putting money aside to do your trademark, or to find a way to get your LLC done, or to, you know, all of those things make a difference for you down the line, so that you can run a good business. So the next time something like stimulus money comes in, you're able to access some of that, right? It's just, it's a lot. And so the priorities are where we have to take a look. So because we're so creative, she said something that makes a difference. We're spending so much money in these department stores when we could be creating our own things. I create 95% of what I wear, right? And because I create what I wear, and it has a name, it's Divine Mother Diva, I have now made outfits for actresses and actors, and you know, who just saw what I was doing. So I'm not just making it for me to wear, I'm branding my own self, unintentionally, really, because I really love clothes. Clothing for me is a tapestry of artistic work, and so and the other thing that I don't want to do is spend a ton of money on clothing or on the fabric that I buy. So I buy the fabric when I see it on sale, and then I design what I want to wear, and then I wear it, right? So you shouldn't be spending so much money on clothes because there's a label on it from somebody else that you're making so many other people millionaires and trillionaires, and you don't have anything to show for it but the clothes that you can't wear again because you don't want anybody to see you in it after you done wore it the first time, you know, stuff like that. So I just really want us to change our mindset, which is the conversation I'm consistently having with those of you who are with ears that are willing to hear. Don't see it as criticism, see it as constructive feedback, because if we want our communities to grow and thrive beyond what we're doing now, some things have to shift. It's not going to happen in osmosis. Brother, spread love.
God bless Mama Andrea.
Ah, how are you, sir?
China's love, manners, and respect. How do you stay, Mama?
Mama is all right. She's hanging in there, you know. Hopefully we won't fall over tomorrow. I'm keeping hope alive. What's going on?
Jah liveth forevermore, so Jah keep we up, you know?
Yes, sir. What can I do for you, hon?
Straight, but just want to call and say love, Mama.
Oh, you just calling to say love? Now, see, keep spreading the love. As you know, we have so much going on. Tell me you either voted already, or you're planning to vote, or you are helping people at the polls tomorrow.
Well, first, Mama, I want to say give thanks for the I Love and Work Send show.
Okay, thank you.
And bless up our brother Mike on the boards, always doing an amazing job.
Yes, Mike has me in here cracking up. Sometimes I'm looking at him going, sir, I am working.
And all the WRD family, of course, for all the victims, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with them. And everyone truly working to make it better. May we be blessed to get it together.
Yes.
And first and foremost, Mama McAuliffe say, you know, today our anniversary of His Majesty coronation of Ethiopia in 1930. Today, 90 years ago in 1930 in Ethiopia, His Imperial Majesty Emperor King Haile Selassie,
I knew that's what he was going to say.
Rastafari, Empress Menet, was crowned King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Jah conquering line of Jah tribe of Judah, Earth's rightful ruler. 72 different nations, including the United States, send delegates to bow before this man, this black man, as king of planet Earth. And if you want to get tickled, read Psalms 72 and think that it was 72 nations. Put them together, may Jah show you Jah light. And also, Mama, one thing His Majesty did, I was made aware. Before they crowned him, he said, crown the queen first. See it? Broke all tradition.
Matriarchal, absolutely.
Said, crown my queen first. And then when they went to crown him, one of his lions, because you know he had lions, took the crown from off the pillow and put it on his head.
Lion of
As
Judah.
I was made aware.
Yeah. Our history, when we know our history, it is so enlightening. But we've been made to think that a lot of our history is made up, right? And it's right there. It is right there. We have been here since the beginning of time, really conquering and doing some great things on Earth. Anything else you'd like to add, sir?
Well, you asked me the question about voting, so I will answer. Give thanks. I have my mail-in ballot. I'm going to fill it out. Thankfully, they called and let me know today I can take it around the corner to drop it off.
Yes.
And on top of that, I'll just be public. I'm not voting for anyone, but I'm going to tell you what I'm voting for. On the debate, the vice presidential debate, I saw Senator Kamala Harris say they're going to decriminalize herb. So you know what I'm voting for.
That was all it took for you. That was all the other things she said, and all it took for you was she going to decriminalize herb. Really?
She already. So you want.
Goodbye, brother. Spread love. You have a great day, and make sure you get your ballot in, okay?
Give Jah the glory, Mama.
Yes.
I live, Jah.
All right. Rastafari. Yes, sir. All right. Bye-bye. Whew, I get the cornucopia of callers up in here, and I enjoy every last single one of them. And why does it start to feel hot in here? Because you closed the door, see, and we need to keep the door closed. So, all right. So, Prince, how you doing, sir?
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I am awesome. I did vote.
Yes.
I wrote myself in because I'm the independent candidate running for Congress.
You better go on with it, Prince.
Yeah. So a lot of other folks have written me in.
Really? Well, how come you just now telling us this?
You didn't know? I didn't put a poster in your neighborhood, on your pole or anything?
No, I ain't see no poll. Now you see, what's his name about to call in here talking about he's tripping to the polls tomorrow. I'm Maurice from Southwest.
Yeah. You would have seen him in all of the areas and stuff. So I wanted to just make you aware, because I think the assumption is, sometimes when people say the revolution won't be televised, this thing is not in the bag. You necessarily don't have all the black male votes that you think.
I know.
I've been talking to, it's about, they see Donald Trump as a boss. They see him as a leader. They see him as making direct decisions and impact. And so there's a lot. It's not just to kill Charles Barkley, Little Wayne, and there's a lot of.
It's the average brothers in the community. Yeah.
Who feel the way that they feel about Donald. So if he gets 24% of the black male coming out, then it's a wrap. You can chalk it up because, you know, a lot of township folks are organized, but they're going to get the organized vote out. But a lot of African Americans, I think, are going to surprise you on this election right here, just because they felt not just neglected by the black community and the Democrats, and that crime bill is not helping. And Kamala, Ms. Harris, is not the one to advocate for the kind of help that Biden needs. And so if he wins, it'll be because of a massive turnout by African American males.
So Prince, stay right on the line with me, because something very similar happened in 2016. On the ground, people were hearing conversations of white women who were saying that were Democrats and Republicans, saying that they were going to quietly vote for Donald Trump because of XYZ, businessman, he's not politics as usual. They were just tired of both parties. Those women were ignored. Right? So it's not like we didn't hear, but it was like, how could they possibly? That can't be true. That can't be true. And I'm hoping on today, on the eve before the election, because I have had a whole show talking about this, about black men who are, I've looked at, there's an echo. Turn your radio down, Prince.
Okay, down.
All right. So there was an article that Cherry Gregg had written earlier this year about black men for KYW, and she shared it with me because she and I had been talking about this. She said, Andrea, no one's really talking about this, that in 2016, 8% of black men voted for Donald Trump. In 2020, tomorrow, they're expecting 24% of black men to vote for Donald Trump. So I had a show on in here some weeks ago, and black men were calling in and saying exactly what you're saying, and for some reason I don't see anyone fully addressing it, like, yo bro, what are we doing, you know? And so you're right, that could cause us a problem tomorrow, and we tend to expect black people to come out and just vote Democrat without listening to them, right? And so tomorrow, I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know. I am hoping that we have enough votes to cover the black men who have already decided and made up their minds that they're going to do something other than vote for the Biden-Harris ticket, right?
Well, I think when Hillary Clinton was running, I seen all of the black churches, all of the black pastors, you know, they assumed that they had this locked down. Yep. And then she stopped giving money. She wasn't paying any money in the neighborhoods. She thought that she could be Obama-ish in those black neighborhoods. And now Joe Biden is putting all the money in the world out in all these black neighborhoods. But he's going to have the results that the black pastors have, where they can't produce the votes. And if they don't produce the votes, then you're going to have to defund the Democratic Party if they lose this one.
Yeah.
If they lose this one, it ain't no coming back from this one, because if they lose this one, then you're going to have anarchy at the highest level, and you're going to have to prepare for it, because that's just it's a reflection on how you treated your group of people for so long. And now, when you suppress the votes to only 18% of the people are coming out in a major mayor election or major elections out of 1.5 million people, then you deserve to get exactly what you have set yourself up for. And so I don't know how all of a sudden you're going to just try to grasp the concept that we're going to make 1 million people who are registered to vote and never voted before, all of a sudden they're going to go to the polls. And you still don't have a clue on how the electoral works. So,
So I did talk about that last...
I'm going to talk to you Wednesday, because I don't know how tomorrow going to turn out.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to be in here on Wednesday. I wish I were, but I'm going to have a whole show on Wednesday just talking about this, what the turnout is going to look like. I did talk last Monday about the Electoral College, wrote a whole piece after doing extensive research, and wrote it in a way so that the average person could understand that us voting for the popular vote is not what wins the presidency. Right?
That is correct.
So you know, Prince, here's my thought and my concern, because I continue to have this dialogue with folks who get real stiff-necked and say things like, well, that's on them. But again, we're watching black men being killed in the streets. We're watching black men, some of them have spent 10, 20, 30 years incarcerated, just coming home from prison. Black men who have felt unheard. We have completely depended upon black women. And yes, we have have stepped in the gap, but we can't cover everybody and everything, as we noticed, right? And so one of the things I would love to do is really begin having real heartfelt conversations with our black brothers who wouldn't ordinarily come out and vote or vote for a Democrat, and then start to find the solutions, right? Because I'm tired of meeting just to meet, too. These town halls, every time I hear about one, I just turn my head and go in the other direction. Because it becomes a dog and pony show up. Well, please introduce such and such and such is in the house, and everybody's patting themselves on the back, and I'm saying, after you leave the town hall, where are the solutions? Where are the solutions?
Do you remember the last town hall that they had when the politician got up and showed the wrong film that totally upset
the family
and disturbed the family?
And the family left the church. I got a call about that, Prince. Were you there?
Yeah, but so here's the thing. Was that politician out of touch, or has his 20-year reign in politics just left one of those, I can't relate to you right now, but I'm just popping up because somebody said on the black radio station that more politicians need to pop up. So I mean, there's no excuses for not being compassionate in a situation like that, not having answers for her. Right. She's grieving. You know, these folks have been mature in every aspect.
Right.
They said we're not going to release, the cameras until after the election.
Until the day after the election.
We would like for you to stop tearing up other people's stuff. I mean, these folks have been humane through this whole process after suffering, and not one politician, not one, you can name them all, not one has said, we will act in their stay and echo what they're saying. No, you let this thing fester. You let everything from blocking up the streets, impeding people's ability to get to work, those who have jobs, to letting them. When you look at people running in stores, taking stuff out of there, and you shake your head, but you want to say it ain't your job or it ain't your position to do. But then you're asking this already depleted police force to do it.
Right.
But none of the politicians who are out in the neighborhood when they want to vote got out their beds, got off their Zoom calls, and went on 52nd Street and went to these places. But yet you sit with these business owners and tell them, put these stores in our neighborhood because we spent $1 trillion. You couldn't go to defend none of them stores. This is pathetic. This is embarrassing to all of them. I'm not letting the white ones get away with it neither, though. The Alan Dobbs of the world, none of them. They don't get a pass neither. Whoever was elected should have been out there standing in front of those stores saying, you can't do this. This is not right. We were nationally. We was on CNN. You embarrassed all of us, not just one of us, all of us. Yeah. And I'm going to hang up and listen to you.
All right. Thank you, Prince. Thank you for calling in, my brother. Yeah, it's a little, well. All right, Wayne, I want you to hold on. Let me go to a quick break so that I can have a full conversation with you, okay? Don't hang up. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Voting is power. The power to elect candidates who won't treat coronavirus like a joke. The power to invest in black communities. The power to create an economy that works for everyone. The power to invest in education and job training. And the power to replace Trump. Make a plan to vote today. Our lives depend on it.
Paid for by AFSCME People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AFSCMEPeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Millennials are known for many things, but did you know that they are currently on track to have worse mental and physical health than the generations that came before them? The Economy League of Greater Philadelphia is challenging our communities to change that with the Well City Challenge. This community-led competition puts the power in your hands to help shape how we address major health challenges across our region, with an emphasis on inclusion and collaboration. So if you care about the health of your community, bring them innovative ideas they need to turn this challenge into opportunities for the millennial generation. Visit economyleague.org to apply today for a chance to compete for $100,000 in prizes and investments. The Well City Challenge is presented by Independence Blue Cross.
The Word Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on Word Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the Word Radio newsletter.
What you get for your vote is important. For decades, Democrats like Joe Biden have taken our votes for granted. They have promised us a better future and never delivered. What did our votes for Biden get us? He wrote the 1994 crime bill that put millions of black men in prison for nonviolent crimes and a sluggish economy that left our communities behind. What does a vote for President Trump and his Platinum Plan get you? A contract with Black America that prioritizes black economic empowerment, 3 million new jobs for the black community, 500,000 new black-owned businesses, an increase in access to capital in black communities by almost $500 billion, better and cheaper health care, more education opportunities, and continued historic improvements to our criminal justice system. A vote for Biden gets you the same failed policies we've seen for decades. But with President Trump, the best is yet to come.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated.
Remember when Trump defended neo-Nazis?
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Or downplayed the coronavirus?
It's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle.
It's time to fire politicians who failed us and elect leaders who will fight systemic racism, have a plan to beat the coronavirus, and will address bias in our healthcare system. This election, remember whose side Trump is on, not yours. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it. Paid for by the NAACP.
Did you know you can catch the flu and COVID-19 at the same time or even back-to-back? Don't risk catching the flu during the COVID-19 pandemic. The flu shot is a safe and effective way of reducing your chances of catching the flu or spreading it to others. And the flu shot helps protect you and your community from the worst effects of the flu. Don't say, I should have got my flu shot. Call your doctor or visit your pharmacist and get your flu shot today.
Hello? Hey, you've been on my mind, so I'm just calling to check in. Oh, we're holding up well here in Pennsylvania. Just trying to stay safe and figuring out if we should vote in person or by mail. We like going to the polls.
Yeah, you never miss an election.
And you know we're not missing this year either, and neither should you. But which way is the safest?
Well, remember that valuable information you got from AARP about COVID-19? Mom even had me read it.
Yeah, that was good info.
AARP has up-to-date voting information for 50-plus voters in every state. It's right there at aarp.org/election2020.
Oh, I got it. aarp.org/election2020. I love having the answers before your mama.
Pops, you know what happens when you try to show out.
Yeah, you probably right about that.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Raphael says, because I'm flipping between Facebook, the Facebook television, and what's happening here in the studios. He says, many of us don't have good financial literacy or the expertise to know how to run a business. Also, some of us are lacking in our work ethics too. We find it hard to work and not be told what to do every day. The immigrants that operate businesses here in America come from a culture of entrepreneurship in their own countries of origin. I guess Bernita was talking about the black men who have been hoodwinked. She says she flew home to vote for Biden, Harris, and Blue. Mary says that these black men need to get off that ego trip about having a woman in leadership. I'm not quite sure it's just about having a woman in leadership. And Mary, remember in 2016, everybody voted for Hillary except the white women, right? They were the ones who, even though we carried her by 3 million votes, if we were depending on white women alone, she would not have become president of these United States. Women have carried the burden on their shoulders for the family when the man chose to leave the house or were incarcerated. So, Ms. Briggs, I would say that's part of the issue, not all of it, right? You know, our history is showing some other things that are going on here. And so I always say this, we have to hear all sides. It's both and, not if or, you know, with folks, because that's how we continue to lose people and lose votes in this country. There has been a conversation for years now about what's been happening on either side of the aisle with both parties, and both parties need some house cleaning. Both parties have some work to do. Both parties have to get to the point where they stop taking votes for granted, and both parties need to sit up, pay attention, and start to make sure that the constituents are getting what they need when we give them these votes. That is not for them to be cute and to get into office and wave at people and have front row seats when they walk into the room, or be treated like deities when they show up anywhere. You are there to work. You are voted in to work on behalf of your constituency. Can't get any clearer than that. Wayne from North Philly, how are you?
All right, sweetheart.
What's going on, Wayne?
Okay. Now, I've been talking about how...
You're breaking up, Wayne. You're breaking up, and I want to hear you.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay. I've been talking for 10 years about how the Republicans have been doing everything in their power to make life a living, breathing hell for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every time they come out of the Oval Office, we lose about $23 trillion, half of our GDP.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to lose about $24 trillion in about 2 months. Now, they've been doing the same thing for about 90 years now. And Trump is so full of himself and so proud of being connected with the Nazis that he couldn't help last year being on the front page of the newspaper with a Heil Hitler salute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And would you believe I never thought Republicans would wind up being so proud of being connected with the
white
Nazis.
supremacists. Mm-hmm.
Now, about 3 out of the last 4 Republican presidents had either direct or indirect contact with Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
So this may not be our first Nazi president.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the third.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the election tomorrow, sir? Have you already voted? Are you going to vote? What are you doing?
No, I am going to vote.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew before I was 10 years old that I would never vote to support Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
So I never thought in a million years we'd have Republicans that are so proud to be connected with Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And almost a quarter of a billion people are still in denial about their connection with the Nazis.
Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing, that there are so many people, millions of people, willing to turn a blind eye to all of what's happening because of the dollar, because of the money, how they're impacted in their pockets, their taxes. All these people willing to turn a blind eye.
You know what part of our problem is?
Mm-hmm.
When the Republicans come out of the Oval Office, like when George Bush came out of the Oval Office, he said something dumb about it. Maybe I made some mistakes and then stole out, and the economy dropped like a 10-ton tank.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still willing to vote for the Republicans with that same sad story.
Yes.
Now, for the last 90 years, they were promising they get elected. They've been getting elected for the last 90 years, promising everybody a little $5 job, promising to open up mines, and haven't given any
coal mines. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, haven't given anybody anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's 90 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of retardation is it that makes people vote Republican in the first place?
Mm-hmm. So it's money, and it is, even though so here's the thought process. Even though I am poor as dirt, living in rural areas of the country and not making a whole lot of money, I'd rather see someone like that in the White House than have black people rule over me, than have black people making all the money. I'm trying to hold down. I need to be seen in a higher light, despite my poverty levels, despite the fact that these people are not helping me in any way other than to make me feel that my whiteness makes me superior to everybody around me. Can you imagine? That's some thinking. As my friends would say, that's some shiggity. Yeah, something. It is absolutely something. Let's just call it what it is. Racism, unearned privileges, and when you look around you, the folks who have understood how much they've gained from unearned privileges have at stake in their head. They will tell you, yes, and I'm telling you, these are people at the highest levels too, CEOs and business leaders who are saying, yes, this person is horrible, but are going into the booth and doing something else. They don't even, notice how they don't even talk to white men? You ever notice that? They're like, well, not even doing that.
Yeah. You know something? Yeah, you know something? I knew 60 days before the last presidential election that if the leader of the Nazis got in there, that the murder rate was going to double. So if I knew it 60 days ahead of time, law enforcement should have known it 2 years ahead of time.
Oh yes, but they have endorsed Trump. Law enforcement have endorsed Trump.
They got a lot of I don't know.
It's interesting.
You know what one of our biggest problems is right now? One of our biggest problems is people are cops are claiming that they don't know how to stop without putting a cluster of bullets in their back. Now this thing about putting bullets in a person's body just a few years ago that was passed, that came from the Ku Klux Klan. That's where that came from.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where cops were there was some kind of a bill passed just a couple of years ago to make it legal for cops to stop somebody by shooting them in their torso rather than in the leg or whatnot.
Center mass, yes. And I was on a Zoom call some months ago talking about what's been going on in the country in the height of the protests. And I was talking about the fact that police officers are trained to shoot center mass, knowing exactly what I'm talking about. And a police officer got in there and said, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going, listen. Now, after the young man was shot, the 27-year-old was shot, now everybody's talking about how they're taught to shoot center mass. I've been in their police stations. I've trained them. They've shown me exactly what they've been taught to do. So I don't even know why folks are acting like they don't know what we're talking about. And so people pretend, this cognitive dissonance, they pretend like they don't understand what we're talking about. They know exactly what they're talking about.
But isn't that dumb that all of a sudden they don't know how to stop a person without putting 2 or 3 bullets in them?
Yeah, well, listen, and they were taught, and they will tell you, police officers will tell you, they were trained to fear the black man because the black man is considered to be superior in strength and size. And so when they see you coming, it's an issue. So let's get real and have real, honest conversations and stop playing the games and stop showing up to community forum events after disaster happens. Let's get proactive and talk about these things,
Yeah, I knew. I had a feeling that was what it was all about, but I didn't know it was on the books and being taught.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. So, hey, they'll be all right. They'll be quite all right, and they'll probably deny it. But some of us who have been on the inside and have seen some of these things know exactly what we're talking about, and we did not come to play. So you have a good one, okay, sir?
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Mr. Eugene from Clinton, Maryland. How are you, sir?
Hello, sister.
I'm good. You're not selling anything today, are you?
Not today, baby. Not today. But I'm going to send you a book. I want you to know that I'm going to send you a book.
You're going to send me a book?
Why I'm calling.
Okay.
Why I'm calling today, this reason for call, it was generated by listening to a talk show, not yours, on Friday. I'm a talk show person. And so there was a discussion about double standards. Double standards for presidential wives. And I was shocked because I had not heard it. They gave some activities of the current First Lady. They gave some activities of Michelle Obama. And so they didn't mention Mrs. Biden, but I'm going to mention her in this conversation. This is what was said, and it disturbed me no end because I'd never heard it before. This gentleman said this: there's a double standard in terms of the wives of the president. He said, do you remember when Michelle Obama had her arms out and everybody got very, very upset about it all over the United States? Double standard. I said, do you also remember when it was discussed that the current president's wife was in a revealing posture?
In other words, she was naked.
She was naked. All right? So I said, oh, my gosh. So the host, because I hadn't heard it, the host said, I had to say, where have you been? So, and then, of course, Dr. Biden, I've met her. I've been in her presence. She's a professor, as I was at that time, a professor. I've met Michelle Obama, okay? All of them. And so I've been thinking about this, and this has been bothering me because if the current president wins this election, his wife is then, as she is now, a role model for young boys and girls. And I wouldn't want my young boys and girls to know what it had been revealed of her being naked on television. So,
that's all you heard, sir? That's all you heard about her, that she was naked? That was the first time you were hearing that?
Yes.
Ooh, well, okay, so there's a little tool called Google.
Google? Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to go on Google and Google her name, and the things you will see come up will make the naked pictures seem tame in comparison.
Really?
Oh, sir. And so when you talk about double standards, I'm talking about quadruple standards. The Obamas had to be incredibly careful with every I and dot every T while they were in the White House. But I was sitting on the Human Relations Commission as the advisory council for the Human Relations Commission in Pennsylvania, the Montgomery County chapter. And I was the chair at the time. And when Barack Obama became president, the number of hate groups grew exponentially. We saw this coming in 2008. We learned through the Washington Post that a group of Republicans sat in a restaurant and had a long conversation and had a meeting about how they were going to take the White House back from this presidency and what they were going to do. One of the things that I tell folks all the time is to stop thinking that these things are happening out of hand, that folks have not been planning for years. They have been planning for years. They have been willing and able. I had a conversation with a Republican senator who asked me to just never say his name because I was up at Capitol Hill going Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs, going in their offices. And he said, listen, what you see happening in education now has been a direct result of 25 years of planning, 25 years of slowly rooting out public education to privatize it, because we don't believe as Republicans that we should be paying for public education. That it's an earned privilege, not a right. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? But yes, you see, we like the hoop and the holler and the, what are we doing and what we're not doing, and quite frankly, it's all right there in front of our faces. There are people who have been planning for years. All of what's happening with President Trump now, none of it is accidental. Not the I, not the T, not the dots, right? But we are acting so surprised and shocked by what we see. That man told us exactly who he was, what he was going to do when he got into the White House, and I need you all to be prepared for tomorrow and the days coming up. People are still shaking their heads. I'm like, why are you shaking your head? Why are you stunned by anything that is happening right now? He has shown you for the last several years. And yet, you've also seen in this country so many people who see all of this happening and are continuing to say, yes, 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 go ahead. We want our America back. So let's talk about it, shall we?
Yes.
Racism is very alive and well in this country. right? There's a whole faction of white folks who, in leadership positions, who have said for years, because they look at the data, they look at the research, something we just seem to like, we go on emotion and we don't think about the data. They looked at the data and said, by year such and such, we are going to be the minorities in this country. How can we get as much as we can before things start to shift and turn? How can we deport as many people from different countries of color as we can to keep our numbers for as long as we can? Right? How can we suppress the votes to do what we need to do for as long as we can? Because money and power corrupts absolute, right?
Yes.
And so we have to take a look at these things and say, all right now, where is this coming from? How do we mitigate this? And which is why I keep saying, when we run for office, we cannot run for office and then sit on our laurels and think everything is going to be okay. Because quite frankly, they set up the folks that are running for office too. I know who they are. They choose the people that they want to get into office, people who they know they can string on a pole, right? And, all right, I'm doing this for you. I'm going to put in all this money into your coffer so you can win this election. You win the election. Now you owe me a certain amount of favors. Sounds familiar, sir?
Yes.
Right? And so all of these things come into play. I've got to take a break. The mic is holding up the thing that I got to take a break. Like, I'm not paying Mike anymore. Hold on one second. Let me take a break. Don't hang up, okay?
No, I won't.
All right. All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. Nick Taliaferro is back with the new show, Evening Words, and I think he brought a chill back with him. So he's giving you a free hoodie when you become a WURD member and use the code WELCOMEBACK at checkout. That's right. Become a member today, and you'll receive a free WURD hoodie valued at $40. Don't wait. The deal goes away November 2nd. That is today, people. Go to WURDradio.com/join now to join or renew today. We will be right back after these messages.
This year has been unprecedented. From the COVID pandemic to nationwide protests addressing systemic racism and calling for criminal justice reform. For weeks, we've been reminding you to make your voice heard in this election, and now is the time to act. Voting is how we empower our communities, and this election day, we can make things happen for us instead of letting things happen to us. So use your power and make your plan to vote today. If you signed up to vote by mail, don't wait. Complete your ballot, put it in the small envelope and seal it. Then put it in a larger envelope and seal that too. Sign and date it. Then drop off your ballot at your county election office today. If you have not signed up to vote by mail, go to the polls on Tuesday, November 3rd. Make sure to confirm your polling location, and don't forget to wear a mask. Polling places are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. To find your county election office or polling location, visit votespa.com. Take your power to the polls and vote. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County, and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com.
Tune into WURD Radio Tuesday, November the 3rd for an Election Day special. You'll get information about polling issues. You'll hear from candidates and some elected officials, as well as lively discussions. That's Tuesday, November the 3rd from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Only on WURD Radio 900 AM and 96.1 FM. This program is being brought to you by the Labor's District Council PAC Fund.
Hi, I'm Keir Bradford Gray, the Chief Defender of the Defender Association of Philadelphia. I've spent my career helping to reform our criminal justice system by advancing client-centered representation that empowers our communities to be stronger and safer. Our communities are still over-policed and under-resourced. This year, accountability is on the ballot, and we can finally have the community police oversight that we desperately need.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
Hey, Mama, you calling me for a change? You and Daddy all right?
We're fine. Can't your mama call and check on her babies and get a little advice?
You know you can. What do you need help with?
Well, despite COVID-19, you know I'm not letting anything stop your father and I from voting this year. But we're here in Pennsylvania. Should we go to our precinct as usual? What's the best way?
You mean I get to be Mama for a minute? All you have to do is go to aarp.org/election 2020.
That's my favorite site, and they have a lot of information about the pandemic.
You only text me the website 3 times, but they have all the reliable, up-to-date voting information for voters 50 plus in every state. Want me to text it to you?
Girl, I know. It's aarp.org/election 2020.
Well, me being your mama didn't last long.
That's 'cause I'll always be your mama.
Yes, ma'am.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I just got a text from my husband. He said, I heard the shout out. Please take care of that $1 million voice. I tell you. All right. So, Mr. Eugene, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I'm here.
So,
and you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning so much just listening to you.
Oh.
Always learning from you. I just want you to know that.
Yes.
And I appreciate your taking this call concerning double standards.
Yes.
Because we need to talk about it, because if that lady becomes our second time First Lady, then we have a poor example, not only for our young boys and girls, but also for the entire nation. And I said, while I did not know until I heard it on another talk show, you gave me information that I'm going to look up.
Yes.
I don't particularly want to see it. But
well, you know, knowledge is power, right? And when we Google, and we start, and of course, you know, we look at real great sources. Just Google her name and look and just read the Washington Post or the New York Times. I also want you to Google this woman by the name of Letitia James. She's the Attorney General of New York, who has been giving the Trumps fits and starts. She deposed one of his sons and interviewed him. She's just waiting for him to get out of office. And that's part of the reason why this president is willing to perjure himself, set his hate groups out on folks. He really wants to stay in office because the minute he leaves, he has a reckoning coming to him, and not just to him, but to his children and other people of his family.
What is the name of this lady again?
Letitia, Letitia.
Letitia.
She's the state attorney general for New York.
Letitia. State attorney general for New York.
Yes, sir. Google her. She is giving them all sorts of tea for the fever. And so when I say to them, you know, when you're going to vote, don't just vote for president and vice president. Your attorney generals make a difference. Your council people make a difference. Your mayor. Who are you voting for mayor? What is their record? If they don't have a record, what values do they stand on? Right? You shouldn't be mayor and be petty.
Yes.
You just can't be a public servant and practice pettiness. It doesn't make any sense. Well, you did this and you said this and I can't. I'm just going to make sure that I use my power to not give you what you want instead of thinking of the collective. Who am I harming beyond this person that I'm upset with, right? And quite frankly, with communication, sir, all things are possible. My friend Keki says this all the time, right? I am never afraid to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, let me ask you one other question.
Yes.
What do you think about athletes, professional athletes, endorsing candidates? Particularly, speaking particularly of Colin Kaepernick. And I'll tell you why. There are 3 of us who have launched a campaign to get him to vote. And what we did is that we, one of the persons is a cartoonist. He used to do the cartoons for Ebony magazine, Walt Carr, 88 years old. He did a cartoon of Colin Kaepernick sitting with a big sign, vote. Now, what we don't know, we know that in 2016 he had not registered to vote, but we don't know whether he registered and voted this time. But it doesn't matter, because that cartoon suggests to anyone.
So I'm about to make Mike check to see if Colin Kaepernick was registered to vote. Google again. It's a beautiful tool. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, and so we have that going, and I was wondering what you thought about professional athletes.
So the same thing I think about anyone who sits in public office. We have to try to be, now, Colin Kaepernick will tell you that he is a private citizen who happens to be an athlete, and he can vote for whoever he wants.
That is true.
I happen to think, as people who are in the public eye, that we have to be incredibly careful. So I will say in a heartbeat, go vote. I'm not telling the soul to go vote for. I talk about the shenanigans of the president. I talked about the shenanigans of Kamala Harris. I talked about the shenanigans of Biden. Like, I am literally across the board doing, speaking of the good and the not so good on either end. Because what really concerns me, sir, is when people say we should not criticize people because they're a Democrat, or we shouldn't criticize them because they're a black woman, or we should. We have to think that when we don't criticize people and we give them free reign, we get what we get.
Yes.
Right? But we have to have a certain amount of expectations from folks, and when we don't have the expectations, and they realize that they can just sail right on in because they're black and they're a woman, or or whatever, or they're an athlete, or name the thing here, right?
Yes.
Then we get what we get, and so that's why we're struggling. I met the mayor of Baltimore, young cat who was about 36 years old. He's a councilman. He's a council president now, running for mayor. I believe, and see, I called it into existence. I bet you he'll be mayor of Baltimore tomorrow, right? Young cat who stood up and was just like, look, you all keep redlining through our district. He ran for council, and got on and became president of council. And they kept saying to him, he's too young. And I keep saying to folks, young people have brains too.
Yes,
they're just younger. Right?
Yes,
and if we collaborate with folks and work across the board, we'll be able to get things done. The most insulting thing you can say to anyone is you're too young and you don't know what you're talking about. We all have the capacity to read.
Or you're too old, like me.
Right, exactly. Or you're too old. As long as you're breathing, right, and you have the passion and you're willing to use emotional intelligence, because the other thing that drives me insane is the lack of emotional intelligence. I can't take it. How do we have so many adults that are not emotionally intelligent? Yes. We've gone to college, we've gotten 50, 100 degrees, and the minute someone says something that you don't agree with, you go piled off into a corner, and nothing gets done.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Yes. This is good information. This is good for the soul.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. But we are waiting, I tell you, we're waiting to see what's going to happen, like everybody, on Election Day. And even if Colin Kaepernick even if he didn't vote, we're going to keep this movement going with athletes, because you know, and I know that you know what I've done. You know, I've gotten the NCAA and NCAA and NFL teams singing "Lift Every Voice" and sing. You know, I'm that old dude. I don't know about Mrs. Trump on it, but I know about things like that. And so I just wanted to share this. And I just want you to know how much I enjoy listening to you. And I hope the people there in Philadelphia, they know my voice now, that they enjoy the comments that I make. So I want to thank you.
Yes, sir.
And keep on talking about double standards.
Yes, sir.
And maybe some of those young people who have not voted will hear that, and when they go down there, they'll vote for their choice.
Yes, sir. You have a great time, and happy Election Day tomorrow. Do what you can to help others, okay?
I shall always.
All right. Bye-bye, sir.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. The Source Education Hour was brought to you by Internet Essentials from Comcast. High-speed home internet for low-income families for just $9.95 per month. Visit InternetEssentials.com to learn more. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Everyone has a different journey to their vote, but we all take the same steps. If you want to vote, register by October 19th. If you want to vote by mail, apply now and mail your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. Or bring it to a satellite election office. If you want to vote in person, go to your polling location on November 3rd. However you want to vote, we'll help you find the way. Visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
At PICO, we know one thing is certain. Times have changed. From kitchen classrooms to couch conference calls, searching for a new job, or new ways to keep your family connected. These changes have become a part of our reality. That's why our teams are working 24/7 to meet the needs of our communities. So no matter how much things change, you can depend on PICO to be there with the energy and help you need to power through. Learn more at pico.com.
Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app. Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the up-and-coming election. Still concerned about COVID-19 and voting in person? Pennsylvania has you covered with mail-in ballots. Simply submit a completed ballot by mail. So long as you request that mail-in ballot between now and October 27th, go to votespa.com and apply for your mail-in ballot today. When your ballot arrives, read it carefully and follow the instructions to complete it and return it. You can also track and confirm that your County Board of Elections has received the mail-in ballot by going to votespa.com. For more information on how to vote in Pennsylvania, visit states.aarp.org/Pennsylvania. Vote early. WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the up-and-coming election. Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit WURDradio.com.
Keeping you informed. As a community service, WURD Radio and the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium wants to keep you informed about where you can get no-cost, barrier-free COVID-19 testing this week. Thursday, November 5th, from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at 1312 Willow Street, Norristown, Pennsylvania. And Saturday, November 7th, from 12 noon till 3 p.m. at Victory Christian Fellowship, 5220 Whitby Avenue in Philadelphia. Stay informed and stay well with WURD Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Word on Politics. This Election Day, tune in to Word Radio all day long for up-to-the-minute Election Day breakdowns and updates with Charles Ellison, beginning at 10 a.m. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live on WordRadio.com, the Word Radio app, and watch live on Word TV via Facebook and YouTube. Word Radio. Independent. Black media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WordRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I believe at this juncture in our country, we need to sit down with black men and not wait until it's election time to go out with a caravan to get them out to vote. We're missing something. This article was written in November 15, 2016, and so I'm asking Mike to see if he can find a more updated version of it. But San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who admitted to not voting in last week's presidential election in 2016, has apparently never been a registered voter. According to Alexei Koseff of the Sacramento Bee, Kaepernick turned 18 in 2005, but hasn't registered to vote in the state of California or in Nevada, where he played college football at the University of Nevada since then. When asked about not voting in this year's election, Kaepernick said the following Sunday, per Jill Martin of CNN.com, "You know, I think it would be hypocritical of me to vote. I said from the beginning I was against oppression. I was against the system of oppression. I'm not going to show support for that system. And to me, the oppressor isn't going to allow you to vote your way out of your oppression." Yeah, and so that was 2016. If you could find something more, I want to know if he has changed his mind and decided that he was going to vote. Because if Mr. Eugene said they just put up a sign with him that says vote, maybe he has changed his mind since then. But in other news, I'm learning, and I had to clutch all my pearls that I am not wearing, that ex-NBA player Shaquille O'Neal was voting for the first time at the age of 48. They're a microcosm. They are a microcosm of what is going on in this country as it applies to black men. We have been out here in the streets protesting. They're looking around. They're the ones that are lying dead, gunshot wounds in their back. Their children, boys. Tamir Rice playing with a toy gun, shot and killed by a police officer who thought at the age of 9 he was playing with a real gun. The man who was in the Walmart with a water gun. A water gun, for God's sake. Don't even look like a real gun. He was shot and killed in that Walmart. And we could just list the stories on and on and on and on. And so it is imperative that we now sit down and talk to the brothers and not think for a second that because they are black that we should just expect a vote out of them, or that we don't really sit and have dialogue with them until it gets to around election time and every single vote counts. Right? Today, less than 24 hours before an election is not the time for us to go, well, you know, maybe we should get the brothers out to vote because every vote counts, right? Once these votes are counted and tallied, we're going to learn shortly after the election day who voted for what and where, because the pundits are not playing. They want to know which group voted the most. The Latinos, I'm so glad that I have been having great dialogue with them and about them and writing articles for them, are coming out in mass force, and it looks like around the country the majority of the young ones are coming out to vote for, the younger ones are coming out to vote for the Biden-Harris ticket, and the older ones, some of them who have known what oppression has felt like in their countries of origin, if they're not born and raised here in the United States, have decided that they are going to continue to vote for Trump. We have to learn where folks are coming from and stop ignoring them. Gary, oh well, now see, you got to put Gary on. Can't just let Gary hang out in the. How are you doing, sir?
All right, how are you doing, Andrew?
I'm good.
I always enjoy listening to your show.
Thank you.
And conversations from the callers and everything. You know, but that thing with Kaepernick, for me, I can't understand. I really admire him for taking a stance, taking a knee, what it symbolizes about the injustice. But how you could not vote, that really blows my mind.
Yeah.
How you could not be registered and never voted. And I've talked to a lot of people, you know, younger people, and they've never voted. And I'm going like, do you understand what our people went through, our ancestors, for you to have that right? Now, voting is not the end all, Andrew. We still got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
But you have to vote. When I turned 18, I voted, and I haven't missed a vote since, and I'm 60 plus. Okay? I watched those TV programs when I was a young man, watching our people being beat, having dogs sick to them, and all those kind of things. And a lot of our women, strong women out there, young people, these were young people. And for our young people today, or anybody, to sit back and not vote, that's just the biggest, I mean, it's like a betrayal to me.
So then let me ask you this, Gary, because I find you to be a reasonable human being. I mean, I've had several conversations with you, and I really enjoy talking to you. If we know that there are people who are not willing to vote in this election or any other election, wouldn't it be incumbent upon us to sit down and talk to them? We may not be able to change their minds, but we can give them some historical facts and hear them, not just talking to them so that they can hear us. We need to hear them too. Wouldn't it be incumbent upon us to do some of that too, right?
Oh,
because
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I totally agree with you. We should be able to sit down and have a dialogue. As a matter of fact, I've done that with some younger people already, and they kind of changed their perspective. You know, I say, no, it's not the end all, but we have to start somewhere, and we have to move forward. Now, just like here in the city, right now, I'm with a group. We kind of meet. We're looking for viable candidates that are really about our people and are really going to work for us. Because right now, Andrea, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not really sorry, but a lot of the individuals who have been in office for, I'm going to say, career, I don't see much movement or improvement for our people, and that really kind of motivates me. Not motivate, it angers me, and it motivates me to make change.
Good.
We need change, and I want to say this: the younger and the older, what we have to be careful of, the ones who are on board, we can't. How should I say? Be against one another. We have to respect the younger people, and the younger people have to respect our wisdom, and then also we have to respect their point of view. Also, it can't be one-sided, because I find that too many of our older individuals, like say in my age category, you try to talk down the younger people. You cannot do that.
Yep. And telling them you don't understand the sacrifices that we've made to get you guys to this point. And the young people look at them and going, yo, we're dying in the streets right now. We're being shot and killed right now in the streets. Everything that happened to you in the 60s, we're going through that stuff right now because so many of you have arrived and you bought your BMWs and your $500,000 houses and you've got your great education and you forgot that the fight continues. And so now we're struggling in school where educators are holding us back on purpose. We're struggling when we try to pay our tuition bills. We come out of college with so much debt. So you tell us to go to college, you come out of college with so much debt. We can't even afford to live in an apartment. We cannot afford health insurance, and what now? And then you talk down to us and tell us we don't have no sense? Are you kidding me? And so both sides need to listen.
Yes. And Andrea, at my age, when I came out of school, I graduated from Drexel University, finance major and all that. I just knew I was going to be working for one of these big financial institutions, corporate America. I got hit with a brick. I would go to those interviews, and I know I could speak. I was articulate. I knew what I knew. And I would be talking to a white gentleman on the other side of the table, or two, or three. And guess what? I got the letters back. Oh, thank you for interviewing us. We don't have a position for you at this time. So fast forward, I ended up dealing with city government, which allowed me to do some things, you know, being inside, working with 2 city controllers. And that's another thing I've seen so much. And it's a lot that our people need to know, and need to be aware of, and hold these people in office. And I keep telling them, they work for us, Andrea. They work for us. And we have to demand, not ask, but demand. But I want to just say this. I love you and what you do and what you provide for our people. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome, Gary. What you doing tomorrow for Election Day, man?
Oh, I'm voting. I didn't do the early vote. I'm going to the poll. That's what I've always done. That's what
according to MSNBC, only 34% of us voted early. So lots of black folks and Latino folks are going out tomorrow. So, you know, continue to help keep your community safe, okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome, sir. Now you're laughing. Who was that? That's either... That's Brother X from Chicago. Lord, Brother X from Chicago. Well, y'all are listening from all over the country. I am so stunned. Brother X, how you doing?
Without.
You know. right. The next time somebody asks me that, I'm going to say just that, without. What's going on, sir?
Doing well. Sister, I ain't talked to you since Heck was a puppy. But I listen to you all the time.
Yes.
Did I hear you say you from one of the islands?
I'm from Jamaica, sir.
Do you know the original people that was on that island?
Yes, sir.
You know what happened to them?
Yes, sir.
You know what happened to the original people on all those islands out there around there?
Yes, sir.
That's what's going to happen to us. The people we are dealing with, listen to me, people. The people we are dealing with, they are psychopaths. Now, we see them on TV, laughing, talking, joking, setting up government, and we seem to forget they are psychopaths. And we are looking for something different from the psychopath.
Definition of insanity, sir. The definition of insanity.
Right. So I would have, and that's why I advise to anybody that is able to escape out of here, escape out of here. You can't stop these psychopaths for what they gonna do in their headquarters. They don't only run Earth, sister. They run space. They the one made the Japanese government of what it is and let products in him. They decided that. So that the Japanese, I mean not the Japanese, the Chinese, they let the Chinese in here with their products so that the Chinese would not be in competition with them.
And the Chinese, while we were being arrogant about allowing, quote unquote, the Chinese have systemically begun taking over large swaths of this world. Not the country, the world. They're everywhere.
Well, not really. They all working in cahoots. I feel what you're saying. But the Chinese and this white supremacist power structure that runs Earth and space, they are all working together. Now, many of us remember Mao Zedong, the revolutionary leader of China.
Yes.
He wouldn't deal with the U.S.
Yep.
U.S. wouldn't deal with him.
Yep.
Because he wanted to liberate people all over the world from capitalism, this sick, devil, inhuman system. That's what Mao Zedong was fighting for. And then when he died, the Chinese, the capitalist Chinese, they took back over. Now, people, listen to me very carefully. If you don't want to hear about genocide and extermination, turn your volume down. These people are psychopaths. They are showing the images of us being assassinated across the planet. This is all by design. It is not an accident. As they keep showing us being shot down and brutalized, then people all across the world, they have no sympathy for you.
Yes.
They used to seeing you killed, assassinated. That's why the police, when he get ready to kill somebody, he have his mic on. He said, oh, stop. Hey, don't do it. We know that's a trick, but what can you do about it? Now, I know you love Barack Bush. And Barack Bush. I know you love him.
Listen, I respect them as black people who have taken on a country that was in the dumps and brought it up. I did not expect them to be perfect people by any stretch of the imagination. And quite frankly, Barack Obama's immigration policies make me cringe.
Well,
let's just be clear.
This system never been in the dumps. That's the impression they give. But check this out. Barack Bush and Michelle Bush, they should have been speaking out on this psychopathic conduct from day one.
Yep, okay, but
before some election.
But X, listen to mother. Listen to me now for a second. There's a set of policies and a code of conduct that each ex-president has to follow when they get out of office. That they have to give the current president that's coming in time to acclimate themselves to make their mistakes, and they should not get themselves involved. President Barack Obama didn't even wait. He was like, I think a year in and was like, oh, hell to the no. We got to talk about this because this is crazy, right? And so he didn't come out in full support of Biden until... Wow. But I guess when Biden was finally won the nomination from the Democratic Party. right? Because remember, Biden was dead in the water until and it just went out my head. In South Carolina, until Clyburn put his power behind him, right? Everybody thought Biden would have never, ever been the Democratic nominee. And so I tell folks all the time, it's the people that you want to count out. It's the one that is not going to be there. Biden should not even have been in the race. He got in the race because what are the choices they have? They knew that the way the makeup of this country was, more than 50% of the people were not going to look at, I'm looking at Bernie. Right? They called him a socialist. There had been a branding around Bernie that called him a socialist, so they knew they could not take the risk of putting Bernie up as the candidate, even though lots and lots of people and young people wanted him. So, you know, the messaging that has been going around for as long as we can remember, if we pay attention, then we understand. So what do we do, X? What is your solution? Because you're telling me all the things that you see wrong. What's your solution to all of this? And don't say burn the place down. Don't say that.
Well, no, you ain't going to be able to burn it down. But first, before I give you a solution, let me tell you this, respond to what you just said. 4 former presidents went down to Texas about a damn flood. You going to tell me 4 former presidents didn't go down to Texas about a damn flood, and they can't talk about a NASA in the White House? 2 former presidents went down to the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Montgomery to commemorate Bloody Sunday. You gonna tell me them 2 presidents can't talk about a nasty spreading racism and hate in a democracy, the democratic country? That's BS.
Yes.
Now, you said what's the solution?
Solution, yes, sir. Give Mother a solution.
Okay, the solution. If you can get out of here, if you can get some grandchild, your daughter, if you can get them out of here, get them out of here. These psychopaths is setting us up for mass slaughter, and it ain't even hidden no more. And I don't even know why people can't see it.
So your solution is what, sir?
Escape out if you can. If you can't escape, sister, prepare for assault. Any black person that lives near some woods, go out and bury you some supplies. Hit them woods. When you get in them woods, do not move in the daytime. They're going to have snipers and drones. If you're going to move at night. If you can make it to Canada, when you get there, turn yourself in to the government. Although Canada is white supremacy too. You have to turn yourself in to them and ask for asylum. That's all you can do. We can't stop these psychopaths.
America is imploding. Thank you so much for calling in, sir. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome, my brother. Thank you for calling all the way from Chicago. Listen to this. All right. So, wow. I don't know whether I'm coming or going now. And there are people who would say that Brother X is spouting conspiracy theories. But let me share this with you. Go back to Google again and look at all the multimillionaires that have created bunkers underneath their places. I'm telling you, a lot of this mess is not accidental. So pay attention and do with it as you may, and go forth. But oof, Lord. I put up a Facebook post yesterday telling folks that after we want you to exercise your right, but after you exercise your right to vote, go in your homes and stay in your homes. I may do my show from the house tomorrow just to be on the safe side, because I've seen some things out in the streets already that is just not sounding kosher to me. And so I'll decide in the morning depending on what I see, because this is crazy out here. And I have the good equipment, so I don't have to worry about quality of show. But my well-being is what I'm most concerned about in what's happening out here. And I also want to go out a little bit before the show, around in my neighborhood and to the polling stations and talk to people about, their voting experience. And maybe I can record some of that and get Mike to put it up. Cliff from Connecticut. All right, Cliff. So here's what I'm going to do. Cliff, are you there?
Yeah, I'll be quick.
No, because I didn't want to rush you. But go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
That's okay. I'm gonna do mine. I'm gonna go in and out.
Okay.
All right. I just want to say we had a whole bunch of white boys in caravans, the whole 9 yards here in Connecticut. If that was Black Lives Matter, that would have been a riot.
You better come
but
on.
These are white boys for Trump. and now that's a rally and a protest. Unbelievable.
Yep.
The comparison of the same thing. And let me just end with this, that this Trump and this white boy, and let's not forget, all the votes can count. We can have 100% voter turnout, but in December, when you get those electors to vote, they can vote just like they did before and vote Trump right back in.
Yes.
We need to change and eliminate the electoral college for
I
real.
agree.
Thanks for taking my call.
You're quite welcome, sir. Thank you for calling from Connecticut. So Connecticut, Chicago, Washington, D.C. Mothers had a cornucopia of calls from across this country today. Listen. All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
The pandemic is not only putting everyone's health at risk, it's also impacted our jobs and retirement security. And it's disproportionately affecting African Americans, especially those 50 plus. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. And if you choose to vote by mail, make sure you return your ballot using both envelopes. Your ballot goes in the smaller envelope for secrecy, and that goes into the larger envelope for mailing. Also, don't forget to sign the voter declaration on the back. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/PA votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/PA votes today. Paid for by AARP.
This year has been unprecedented. From the COVID pandemic to nationwide protests addressing systemic racism and calling for criminal justice reform. For weeks, we've been reminding you to make your voice heard in this election, and now is the time to act. Voting is how we empower our communities, and this election day, we can make things happen for us instead of letting things happen to us. So use your power and make your plan to vote today. If you signed up to vote by mail, don't wait. Complete your ballot, put it in the small envelope and seal it. Then put it in a larger envelope and seal that too. Sign and date it. Then drop off your ballot at your county election office today. If you have not signed up to vote by mail, go to the polls on Tuesday, November 3rd. Make sure to confirm your polling location, and don't forget to wear a mask. Polling places are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. To find your county election office or polling location, visit votespa.com. Take your power to the polls and vote. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Hi, this is the actress Celia Ward. Election day is coming up, and making sure that our votes are counted is just as critical as casting the ballot. Any voter can vote by mail by using a mail-in ballot, but please follow the instructions carefully. After you fill out your ballot, you place it in the white envelope labeled official ballot. Your ballot won't be counted if it's not in this envelope. Put the white envelope into the pre-addressed outer return envelope, sign, seal that pre-addressed return envelope, and sign the declaration on the envelope. Return your ballot by mail or by hand delivering it to your County Board of Election office or dropping it off at a designated drop box location. This year's been hard, losing loved ones, jobs, class time, more shootings of unarmed black people. So your vote, our vote, is part of making things better. And remember, the election isn't over until every vote is counted.
Paid for by the Leadership Center for Attorney General Studies.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
and WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media.
Hello, my name is Hassan Bennett. I did 13 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. Over-policing in our community has led to over 100 casualties like mine. It's time we, the people, take control of our future. And we do this on November 3rd by voting to make communities safer and the system fairer.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Nick Taliaferro is back with the new show Evening Words, and I think he brought a chill back with him. So he's giving you a free hoodie when you become a WURD member and use the code WELCOMEBACK at checkout. That's right. Become a member today, and you'll receive a free WURD hoodie valued at $40. Don't wait now. The deal goes away today, November 2nd. Go to WURDradio.com/join now to join or renew today. Welcome back to WURD, Nick Taliaferro. Speaking of welcome back, it was good to see Troy today. You know, and we're a whole little family. The producers and I are in here just having a good old time. I love working with Mike and Brianna. Can't thank them enough. And Dee Patel has been like a joy for me as our program manager, our new program manager here at WURD. She sends us our news clips every single day. It's just wonderful. So I don't have to worry about, you know, what I'm looking for. And speaking of D, top news, Black Lives Matter has been a lot of things in his brief, fiery life. It's been a slogan, a rallying point, a movement that led protests coast to coast, calling for America to get serious about preventing black deaths at the hands of law enforcement. A heaven-sent resource for people like Ellen Jones, desperate for justice after her son died in a Los Angeles County jail. Black Lives Matter saved us because we had nobody, said Jones. So that was from the Philadelphia Tribune, who was the source. Black leaders discussed the unrest, path to economic recovery for Philadelphia. Almost a dozen of Philadelphia's black civic, religious, business, and political leaders gathered on a Zoom call Friday afternoon in response to the economic impact of looting and rioting following the police killing of Walter Wallace Jr. Congressman Dwight Evans led the discussion with State Senator Vincent Hughes, Urban League of Philadelphia CEO Andrea Custis, Urban Affairs Coalition CEO Charmaine Matlock Turner, Black Clergy of Philadelphia, President the Reverend Robert Collier, African American Chamber of Commerce Board Chair Stephen Bradley, and others. Custis stressed the importance and the economic impact of cities like Philadelphia. Urban cities are jewels, and yet we are not treated as such. We are the economic drivers for this nation. The source, again, was the Philadelphia Tribune. The Philadelphia curfew ends. National Guard arrives as city braces for possible unrest following the shooting of Walter Wallace Jr. This is from WPVI-TV. A citywide curfew went into effect at 9 p.m. Friday as Philadelphia braced for possible unrest following the shooting death of Walter Wallace Jr. The curfew was lifted 6 a.m. Saturday. Members of the Pennsylvania National Guard arrived in Philadelphia Friday morning to protect the vulnerable city buildings and help businesses hit hard by looters following nights of unrest. The National Guard was requested by city leaders earlier this week following the shooting death of Wallace, 27, a black man with a history of mental health problems that prompted protests, widespread vandalism, and an overnight curfew. It was not immediately clear how many members of the National Guard would be arriving in Philadelphia. This is the one that got me. Feds go after protesters with rarely used civil disorder law enacted in the 1960s. The statute had been used in at least 24 cases across the country, but legal experts worry it can be a dangerous road to go down when announcing federal charges against 4 men accused of torching police cars in Philadelphia during a protest in May. U.S. Attorney William McSwain gave a stark warning. He would use the full force of the federal government against others who caused mayhem. If you engage in violent civil unrest and commit a federal crime in this district, we will come after you as hard as we can, McSwain of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania said at a news conference last Thursday. You will go to jail. In addition to the arson offenses, federal prosecutors said a grand jury had charged the men with one count of obstructing law enforcement in the commission of their duties during a civil disorder. This was from NBCPhiladelphia.com news. It's too late to mail in your ballot, and here's how to get your vote counted. Kamala Harris fired back at those who mock her name. Senator Kamala Harris has offered a stern message for those who have mocked her name. During an interview with Trevor Noah, Harris called detractors childish for making fun of her first name. The California lawmaker explained that a name is the first gift a family gives its newborn child. It is usually informed by tradition and love and the hope and aspiration that family has for that child, the Howard University graduate said. It is something precious and sacred, and it is a part of their identity. And when I see people fighting for the right for that to be respected and treated in a dignified way, I applaud and salute them. In recent weeks, President Donald Trump, Senator David Perdue, and Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson have mocked her first name. A number of other news personalities have stumbled over her first name prior to the upcoming election. It speaks poorly of their appreciation for the responsibility and the role they have, Harris said, and I think it's a reflection of their values and maturity. So then that was Black Information News Network. And so if you go to the Black Information News Network, you can read the article on how to get, here's how to get your vote counted. In sports news, the Arizona Coyotes cut ties with Prospect after allegations of racism surface. The Arizona Coyotes have cut ties with their first-round draft pick, Mitchell Miller, after reports of racist and abusive behavior have surfaced. On October 26, the Arizona Republic put together an extensive report regarding Miller's treatment of Isaiah Meyer Crothers, a black student with developmental disabilities in Sylvania, Ohio. This again is from the Black Information News Network, Black Information Network News. Lord Jesus. And, Sojourner. Hold on one second, Sojourner. I'll get to you in a minute. In the trending entertainment, Lil Wayne endorses Donald Trump after great meeting. Lil Wayne is the latest rapper to publicly announce his support for President Donald Trump. Wheezy seemingly confirmed his political stance this week after a great meeting, quote unquote, he had with Trump on Thursday, October 29th. The lollipop musician took to Twitter last night to not only endorse the president, but also praise the platinum plan Trump has proposed for black Americans. Just a great meeting with @Real Donald Trump at POTUS. Besides what he has done so far with criminal reform, the platinum plan is going to give the community real ownership. He listened to what we had to say today and assured he will and can get it done. Wayne tweeted a photo of the two smiling and giving the thumbs up. Black Information Network News. Lord, and on that I will take a deep cleansing breath and have now Sojourner Abi. Sojourner, are you there? Are you Ahebi or Abi?
It's Ahebe.
Ahabe. See, this is why I don't like butchering people's name. I had to ask.
Thank you for asking.
Ahabe. I love it. Welcome to the Source and to WURD, honey.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So Sojourner Ahabe is a Philadelphia-based reporter and audio producer. Her work has appeared in The Atlantic, WHYY, The Philadelphia Tribune, Rewire, and Roxanne Gay and Tressie McMillan Cotman's podcast, Here to Slay. Sojourner is a 2019 McDowell Colony Fellowship recipient in creative writing and a 2020 Pulitzer Center for Crisis Reporting Fellow. I cannot wait to hear your reports on the election tomorrow. Welcome to WURD. Yes. We needed you like a car engine needs oil.
I'm happy to be here and answer any questions.
Yes, ma'am. So what is your role going to be? Let the WURD listeners know what your role is going to be and what you will be doing tomorrow on Election Day and moving forward.
Sure. So I'm part of a collaboration between an organization called VoteBeat and WURD. VoteBeat is a nonprofit news organization, and it's a collaboration amongst newsrooms across 8 states in the country, all doing reporting locally in their various states and cities. So obviously I will be representing Philadelphia and providing content for WURD that VoteBeat will then republish to their national audience. So I'm the election reporter, so I'm going to be focusing on all things pre-post-election. And so tomorrow I'm going to be reporting live from at least 3 to 4 different drop box or polling locations, specifically, of course, centering Black communities. So we're going to try to hit West, North, and South, and then potentially City Hall and the Committee of the 70, and bringing you interviews from the street just to get a sense of what people are feeling, how in-person voting is going, social distancing measures, all that good stuff.
Yes. So I am inviting you. Tomorrow I am on The Source from 2 to 4. I am inviting you to call these lines anytime you have an update. I'm so excited to have someone on the streets so we can get up to the minute reporting about what's going on out there. What have you seen so far, though, in these hours leading up to the election?
Sure. Well, the first thing is obviously mail-in ballots. That's been such a huge component of the election this year. So there's been a surge in general in mail-in voting since the primary, but that surge has only continued to grow as we move further and further towards Election Day. As of today, according to the City Commissioner's Office, over 325,000 Philadelphians have already cast their ballot. And across the state, that number is actually 2.4 million, according to ACLU Pennsylvania. So there's obviously a lot of investment right now in mail-in ballots, and there's a lot of turnout in that way. But the city said that they're actually still expecting a pretty large in-person turnout. So that's what that's looking like so far.
All right. So you have your Election Day gear ready? What's in your Election Day gear now? What are you carrying with you as you go across the city?
Certainly. So I'm going to be using my professional recording equipment. So that includes my, headphone. I have my recorder. I use a Zoom H4 recorder, all that good stuff. But I'm also bringing my phone because I have pretty good quality, and sometimes you need to be a little bit more mobile.
Yes.
So that's always like a good backup, especially as I'm going to be sending dispatches pretty frequently to the team, back in the studio. So we want both options, but that's kind of what my kit is going to look like.
Right, but how about you want to make sure you eat now? We don't want you to come out here and then faint. We do not want you to faint.
Right.
Please. So are you going to be packing your food too?
I need to be packing my food and my water.
Yes, ma'am.
In these streets. Yes.
Yes, and a couple of Advils because you don't know what's going to happen in these streets, right?
Listen, you already know.
Listen, and the other thing that mother wants you to carry is a little bit of milk.
Oh my God! Yes.
Listen, and I'm telling you this because anything is liable to happen, right? So if pepper spray is sprayed or tear gas, you want something to cleanse out your eyes. You want to have all your wipes and your, for COVID. You want to have extra masks, because people screaming and shouting. You don't ever know what's going to happen, So I want you to be safe. I don't just want you to report back to us and give us all the good stuff. We really want you to be safe too, as you give us the excellent quality work. I can hear just from talking to you that you are an expert at this. So
thank you.
I'm quite excited to hear from you tomorrow and what you have to give us. And what time do you start tomorrow morning?
So my first, live recording is going to be at 2, around 2 to 4, in that 2 to 4 window. Okay. I think it's actually something closer to 3:30. I will double check, but yes.
Yeah. So your first live recording tomorrow, it's going to be between 2 and 4.
Yes, it will be. So I believe I'll be calling.
Call mother.
Yes.
Call mother. I am happy to talk to you. Happy to get the details. And listen, tomorrow morning I'm going to ride my bicycle. But what I plan to do is go to a couple of polling stations up in the northwestern corner of the state. And so I will trade stories with you when you call in live. Okay?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see and hear what's happening out there.
Yes. And since I'm up that way, we'll figure it out, and I'll let you know what's going on. It's such a pleasure talking to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And make sure you pack everything you need, not just your professional equipment, but the stuff that'll keep you going, and make sure you know where all the bathrooms are too.
Yes,
right?
that's a good point. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, that was so nice. That was Sojourner Ahabe, who is our beat reporter for all things election tomorrow. General election and post-election. And she's going to have her hands full because so much is happening in this city, and Philadelphia is considered a swing. You know, both parties need our votes to carry the state of Pennsylvania, and so we don't want to take any of it for granted. All right, so, wow, this is some good stuff. All right, so I did that. I was in the middle of reading your election guide about the presidency. They were talking about to offer the ranking of this year's 12 most important outcomes. The presidency was 1, Senate control was 2, 3 was state legislatures, 4 was the House. They didn't worry about the House because it seems to be pretty clear that they have more Democrats than anything on it. Number 5 was prosecutors and the courts. That is self-explanatory. You need good prosecutors that are going to work on behalf of all citizens, not just some. And number 6 was populist economics, the ballot initiatives to establish a $15 minimum wage in some places like Florida. And number 7 is abortion in Colorado. Voters will decide whether to ban abortions after 22 weeks of gestational age. Many red states already have such laws, but Colorado would become arguably the most liberal state to adopt one. Number 8, Puerto Rico, statehood. Citizens there will vote in a non-binding initiative to signal whether they want the island to become a state. Wouldn't that be great? Because right now, they can't vote. President, if it passes, a future Congress is more likely to add 2 new states, Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. Pay attention to that. I'm looking towards that. Number 9, the Bernie-style Democrats. Justice Democrats, the progressive group that recruited Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has endorsed 5 House candidates trying to win election for the first time. Perhaps the most intriguing, Kara Eastman, who is running in a swing district in Nebraska. So far, Bernie Sanders-style Democrats like Eastman have won virtually no races in the competitive districts. Number 10, the future of Uber and Lyft in California. The companies are backing an initiative that would allow them to continue paying their drivers as independent contractors rather than employees, saying it was vital to the business model. Many labor unions oppose the measure, saying it would prevent drivers from earning a living wage. Number 11, ranked choice voting. Voters in Alaska, Massachusetts, and a handful of cities will decide whether to adopt ranked choice voting, which makes it easier to vote third party without undermining a major party candidate. Currently, only Maine uses the system statewide. Number 12, the drug policy. Arizona, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, and South Dakota will consider versions of marijuana legalization. X gonna bring it to you. While Oregon and Washington, D.C. will vote on whether to ease restrictions on mushrooms. And so for a longer list, see this guide to what's on the ballot by Niconian political scientists. This is good stuff. Let me see. It's 3:41. You are listening to The Source. 96.1. Hold on. Somebody just sent me. Someone says, hey, Queen, re-election. The city needs volunteers to count ballots overnight. What? Anyone interested should email Manny Citron, manny.citron, C-I-T-R-O-N, @phila.gov. The city needs volunteers to count ballots overnight. Mr. Sanders, maybe you and I need to go count ballots. Anyone interested should email Manny Citron, that's M-A-N-N-Y, .CITRON, put this in the Philadelphia thing for me, please, in the Word thing, @phila.gov. Let them know that the city needs volunteers to count ballots overnight. This Manny, M-A-N-N-Y, .citron, C-I-T-R-O-N, @phila.gov. Thank you. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Everyone has a different journey to their vote, but we all take the same steps. If you want to vote, register by October 19th. If you want to vote by mail, apply now and mail your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. Or bring it to a satellite election office. If you want to vote in person, go to your polling location on November 3rd. However you want to vote, we'll help you find the way. Visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
What's up, everyone? I know you know the word, no, not the station, but this word, J-O-B that is, and our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
Hello, this is James Harper Jr., Business Manager at Labor's Local 413 in Chester, PA. I'm here to remind all of the listeners of Labor's Live on WURD to make sure you, your family, and friends are registered to vote. We're at a pivotal time in our country's history where we have to make sure we bring common sense back into politics. We can no longer let hate, racism, and lies govern our country. We stand on the shoulders of kings and queens, warriors and activists that fought and were even murdered to give us the basic responsibility to exercise our right to register and vote. We dare not let them down.
Don't forget to tune into Labor's Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. on WURD, WURD.
Voters, it's time to know your rights. Know that history is on your side. History has given you the right to vote. See yourself during the most important election of our time. See yourself casting your ballot and not letting anyone or anything stand in your way. See yourself as the voter with the most powerful voice. The voice of the young first-time voter. The voice of the disabled voter. The voice of the experienced senior citizen. The voice that is black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American. The voter that is straight, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, non-binary. You are the American voter who cannot be suppressed. It's time that you know that casting your ballot isn't difficult at all. You just have to know your rights. Voters, you have the right to a free and fair election. That's why your voice will not be suppressed. Your vote is your voice. Call or text 866-OUR-VOTE for more information on your voting rights.
Hello? Hey, you've been on my mind, so I'm just calling to check in.
Oh, we're holding up well here in Pennsylvania. Just trying to stay safe and figuring out if we should vote in person or by mail. We like going to the polls.
Yeah, you never miss an election.
And you know we're not missing this year either, and neither should you. But which way is the safest?
Well, remember that valuable information you got from AARP about COVID-19? Mom even had me read it.
Yeah, that was good info.
AARP has up-to-date voting information for 50-plus voters in every state. It's right there at aarp.org/election2020.
Oh, I got it. aarp.org/election2020. I love having the answers before your mama.
Pops, you know what happens when you try to show out.
Yeah, you probably right about that.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before I take Viola, let me give you the latest news on the 2020 campaign, since we're now how many hours away from the election day? Ooh, about 15. Both campaigns will be in Pennsylvania today, the state most likely to decide the election. Let me read this again. Both campaigns will be in Pennsylvania today, the state most likely to decide the election. Biden will also campaign in Ohio, which Trump flipped from the Democrats in 2016. The Times final polls of the 2020 election show Biden leading in 4 battleground states: Arizona, Florida, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Biden has a meaningful but not commanding lead in Pennsylvania, the Times' Nate Cohn explains. I'm telling you, Pennsylvania, man, these people. The Texas Supreme Court denied a Republican attempt to throw out more than 120,000 early ballots cast at drive-through locations in the state's largest county, which is heavily Democratic. But a Republican-appointed judge has called a hearing today in a nearly identical effort in federal court. My My goodness. Trump's election night party will take place inside the White House and could involve around 400 guests, a potentially dangerous number for an indoor event during the pandemic. The virus itself, speaking of the pandemic, England is shutting down pubs, restaurants, and most retail stores for at least a month as health experts warn that the current wave could overwhelm hospitals. Dr. Scott Atlas, the White House coronavirus advisor, went on a Russian state-sponsored news show to play down the seriousness of the pandemic. He later apologized. I'm telling you. Trump suggested at a rally that he might fire Anthony Fauci, the country's top infectious disease expert, after Election Day. Fauci had told the Washington Post that the U.S. could not possibly be positioned more poorly heading into the winter. I'm telling you, conversation I keep having with people. In other big stories, Typhoon Goni made landfall in the Philippines with sustained winds of 135 miles per hour, the most powerful storm to hit the country in years. At least 16 people died. An earthquake off the coast of Turkey killed at least 62 people and injured more than 900. Rescuers this weekend continued to dig through tons of rubble for survivors in the city of Izmir, the country's third largest. Trump bought the news media 4 years of ratings and page views. Now, leaders in the industry are planning big shifts in their strategy no matter who wins the election. Johnny Depp lost a court case against a British newspaper that called him a wife beater. Well, what a way to end the show. Viola, are you there, my love?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Happy pre-election day. How are you?
I'm great.
What did you just call me, Viola?
Oh, I said Word Radio.
Oh, I thought you said First Lady. I was like, huh?
Well, you could almost be the First Lady.
Of what? My
of
dreams?
your show. You're the First Lady of your show.
What's going on, lady?
I just love your show. I listen to you every day. I don't always have to be able to call because I'm always doing something.
Yes.
But because today is the day before election, I will be working the poll tomorrow. I have to be to work at 6 a.m.
Yes.
And I will be there all day. I am in a county in Delaware that is predominantly Republican, so I'm going to have me a good time finding out exactly who all is Republican, including some of the dark folks.
Yes.
But anyway, I may not be able to give you a call like while I'm there, maybe a couple of hours later, but I'll try my best. I get a lunch break. I will try my best just to let you know, but I had to come and get me a job down here in Delaware after I moved here because there's a lot of black folks that don't vote.
Yeah.
And
So Viola, I'm on from 2 to 4 tomorrow, so take your lunch break at 2:20, okay?
Oh, okay. All right. I should be able to, unless it's crowded.
Okay. All right.
In my training, in the training that I did, we're not allowed to say, may I help you, sir? May I help you, ma'am? We're only allowed to say, can I be of help to you? Because we have to be careful of, saying something against someone that we may not be sure about what they are.
There you go.
And when I heard that, I said, oh, my goodness. So, it's a lot of things that you have to remember.
Yes.
But this Sussex County, I mean, it is Republican all the way.
Yes.
But yet I see some Biden-Harris signs on their lawns. I have one on my lawn. But a couple of my neighbors are Republicans. So I'll be glad to greet them tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. We'll call in and let us know.
Yes. But I just, listen, I be driving along laughing at some of the things that you be saying, especially when calling Tyrone.
Oh, listen, that's my baby. I ain't hear from him today, so I'm expecting to hear from him and Woody tomorrow.
I love hearing him, and I love hearing Woody, because Woody has a lot of knowledge.
Yes.
Based on being a barber. I was a beautician by trade.
Yes.
So I know what goes on in those chairs.
Yes, ma'am.
In someone's head.
Yes,
know?
ma'am.
But
all right, I got to.
But everybody got to vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Vote.
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
I work at the poll that I can vote at, so
yes,
I won't be in line.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Last call, Eric, and you literally have a minute because I have to get off the air on time. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What can I do for you in these Wakandan streets?
Okay. I hope you don't block me or, just mute me and hang up and whatnot due to my opinion, but
Listen, your opinion matters. Keep going.
Okay, I'm black, and Trump. I'm voting for Trump tomorrow.
Okay.
I can't wait to vote for Trump tomorrow.
Tell me why, Eric.
Because enough of the liberal tears and the liberal crying and everything is boo-hoo, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Like, they don't take accountability. They teach to just blame people for everything. So it's enough is enough, man. Trump brought it back.
Okay.
Trump brought it back. Like, that's what we rolling with. Trump 2020.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say to you is thank you for feeling comfortable enough to call here and talk to me, okay? Everybody's voice and opinion matters to me, whether I agree with them or not. And quite frankly, I have been very aware for a long time that there's a lot of black men who are planning to vote for President Trump. What I'd love for you to do, Eric, is call me back tomorrow and have a more in-depth conversation with me. Can you do that?
Yes, I can.
All right,
and
sir.
Thank you for doing that, because most of the hosts at WURD will mute you and hang up.
No, that we don't see.
Don't
That's called. So for me,
opinion.
Eric, emotional intelligence is key, and so I would never do that to any of the callers. If you take the time to call in, then I'll take the time to be respectful of you, no matter what it is that you say. Okay?
Respect to you as well.
All right, my brother. Have a good one. Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, listen now. A brother called in to say he was voting for Trump, and I need y'all to listen. I keep telling y'all, stop telling folks that they're crazy and stupid. That's what you did with the white women in 2016. And so what we need to do is get these brothers at the table and have dialogue with them beyond deriding them and making them feel like they're nuts, because all you're doing is pushing them away even further, and more of them will be gone. Look, we're at the end of the source, man. It's 3:55, Mike. We did it. And if the 3 hours went by so quickly. Thank you again to my husband for the hot tea, because my voice held up for me. Mike, it's always a pleasure working with you. Thank you to the WURD listeners. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.